The moment Lena Hartwell's phone lit up with three words, "I can't, sorry," her entire world collapsed. 3 years, gone. Right there in the city's most expensive restaurant, surrounded by strangers who'd soon realize she'd been stood up. But humiliation was just the beginning. Because when she tried to leave, a man stepped into her path. A man whose name made grown men nervous, whose empire ran on blood and silence. Lucien Moretti. And he was about to make her an offer she couldn't possibly accept. Want to know what happens when a broken woman meets the most dangerous man in the city? Stay until the end. Drop a like and comment your city so I can see how far this story travels. The champagne had gone flat an hour ago. Lena stared at the glass, watching tiny bubbles cling desperately to the sides before surrendering to stillness. Kind of poetic, really. She'd been clinging to Marcus for 3 years, and tonight was supposed to be the night he finally stopped treating their relationship like a maybe and made it a definitely. The reservation had been his idea. Celestia, perched on the 63rd floor with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the glittering sprawl of the city. The kind of place where proposals happened, where Instagram moments were manufactured and relationships were made official in front of strangers who'd applaud because that's what you did when someone got down on one knee. She'd bought a new dress. Deep emerald silk that hugged every curve she'd worked for at the gym. Hair swept up in that effortless style that had taken her 45 minutes to perfect. Her hands had shaken while applying lipstick, the good kind, the kind that cost more than her electric bill, because she'd been so sure. So stupidly sure. Her phone buzzed against the white tablecloth. The screen lit up with Marcus's name, and her heart did that pathetic little leap it always did. Even now. Even after waiting for 90 minutes while the waiter refreshed her water glass with increasingly pitying looks, she unlocked the screen. "I can't. Sorry." 3 words. 45 characters if you counted the period and the space. Lena read them again, then again, waiting for more, an explanation, an excuse, an emergency, anything. Nothing came. Her chest tightened, air suddenly too thick to pull into her lungs properly. The restaurant noise, the gentle murmur of conversation, the soft clink of silverware against china, the practiced laugh of a woman 2 tables over, all of it pressed in on her like water rising in a locked room. Someone was staring. She felt it before she saw it. A blonde woman in a white pantsuit leaning toward her companion and whispering behind a manicured hand. The companion glanced over, then quickly away. They knew. Of course they knew. She'd been sitting here alone for 90 minutes like an idiot, checking her phone every 3 minutes, smoothing down a dress nobody was coming to see. The waiter appeared at her elbow, materializing with that supernatural timing good servers had. "Miss Hartwell? Can I get you anything else?" His voice was gentle. Too gentle. The kind of gentle you used with wounded animals. "No." Her voice came out steady, small miracle. "Just the check, please." "Already taken care of," he said, and the pity in his eyes made her want to throw the flat champagne in his face. "Have a good evening." She stood before her legs could betray her, smoothing the emerald silk with hands that wanted to shake but wouldn't. Not here. Not in front of these people with their successful dates and their proposals that actually happened. The walk to the exit stretched out like a nightmare hallway. Too many eyes. Too many whispers cutting through the ambient music. Her heels clicked against the marble floor, each step a small declaration that she was fine. Totally fine. Absolutely fine. She wasn't fine. The elevator bank was 20 feet away. 15. 10. Then someone stepped into her path. Lena looked up, into a face that made her breath catch for entirely different reasons than Marcus's text had. The man was tall, easily 6'2", with dark hair swept back from a face that could have been carved from marble, except marble didn't have eyes like that. Dark. Assessing. The kind of eyes that saw everything and forgot nothing. He wore a charcoal suit that probably cost more than her car, tailored so perfectly it looked like it had been grown on him. "Excuse me," Lena said, trying to step around him. He moved with her, blocking her path with the casual confidence of someone who is used to controlling spaces, controlling people. "Sorry I'm late, amore." His voice was smooth, accented, Italian, she thought, and loud enough to carry, loud enough for the tables nearest them to hear. Lena blinked. "What?" He stepped closer and she caught the scent of expensive cologne and something darker underneath. Danger, maybe. Or power. Hard to tell the difference. Trust me, he said, quieter now, just for her. His eyes held hers with an intensity that made her forget about the text message for half a second. I'm giving you an exit. Take it. I don't. You're leaving humiliated, or you're leaving on my arm. He extended his hand, palm up. An invitation, a lifeline. Your choice. But choose fast. Behind her, Lena heard the whispers growing. Speculation. Interest. Someone was definitely filming this on their phone. She'd been to enough restaurants to recognize the particular stillness of people trying to sneakily record a moment. She looked at his hand. Strong fingers, no wedding ring, a watch that probably cost more than her entire year's salary. This was insane. She didn't know this man. He could be a serial killer, a con artist, 5 seconds, he said. 4. Fuck it. Lena placed her hand in his. His fingers closed around hers, warm and certain, and he pulled her close enough that she could feel the heat coming off his body. Close enough that anyone watching would assume they were together. Close enough to smell the whiskey on his breath and see the faint scar cutting through his left eyebrow. Good girl, he murmured, then louder, turning them both toward the restaurant. Shall we have that drink now? I was just leaving, Lena managed, trying to figure out what game this was and what role she was supposed to play. Nonsense. He guided her back toward the interior of the restaurant, his hand settling at the small of her back like it belonged there, like he'd touched her 1,000 times before. We have a reservation. Table 7, isn't it? Table 7 was in the corner. Private. The kind of table you requested when you wanted to be seen arriving but not overheard while dining. The hostess appeared, all professional smile and knowing eyes. Mr. Moretti, your table is ready. Moretti. Lena's stomach dropped. She'd heard that name before. Everyone in the city had heard that name, even if they pretended not to know what it meant. Moretti Industries owned half the commercial real estate downtown. Moretti Foundation donated to every charity gala. Moretti was the name that appeared in the society pages and the business section and, if you believe the rumors, in sealed court documents that never quite made it to trial. Lucienne Moretti. Oh God, she'd just let a mob boss rescue her from a bad date. He felt her tense. His hand pressed slightly more firmly against her back, keeping her moving forward. Breathe, he said softly. You're doing fine. I don't know what I'm doing. That makes 2 of us. They reached table 7. He pulled out her chair himself, waiting until she sat before taking his own seat across from her. The table was small enough that their knees almost touched underneath. Intimate. Deliberate. A waiter materialized, different from the one who'd pitied her earlier, with menus and a wine list that probably cost more than her rent. The Brunello, Lucian said without opening the wine list. 2015, and we'll start with the Crudo. Excellent choice, Mr. Moretti. The waiter vanished. Lena stared at the man across from her. Up close, he was even more devastating. Sharp cheekbones, a mouth that looked like it didn't smile often but would be lethal when it did. A small scar along his jaw that she wanted to ask about and absolutely wouldn't. I should leave, she said. You should. He leaned back in his chair, utterly relaxed, like he rescued strange women from public humiliation every Tuesday. But you won't. You don't know that, don't I? His eyes held hers. You came here tonight expecting a proposal from a man who couldn't even bother to cancel in person. You got dressed up, put on that armor. His gaze flickered down to her dress, then back up. Nothing sexual in it, just observation. And when he threw you away via text message, you still managed to walk toward that exit with your head up. You're not someone who runs, Lena Hartwell. Ice slid down her spine. How do you know my name? The reservation was under your name. Celestia always confirms with the person who books. He paused. Also, I make it my business to know things. That's not creepy at all. The corner of his mouth twitched, almost a smile. I've been called worse. The wine arrived. The waiter made a show of presenting the bottle, pouring a small amount for Lucian to taste. He waved it away impatiently. Just pour. 2 glasses filled with dark red wine. The waiter retreated. Lucian lifted his glass. To new beginnings. Lena didn't touch hers. Why are you doing this? Doing what? This. Plain, whatever this is, you don't know me. No, he agreed. I don't. So why? He set his glass down, untasted, leaned forward. Now his knees did touch hers under the table, and she felt that small contact like an electric shock. Because 40 minutes ago I watched you walk into this restaurant like you were heading into battle, he said quietly. And 20 minutes ago I watched you read a text message that broke something inside you. And 10 minutes ago I watched you decide not to break where anyone could see it. His eyes held hers. That interested me. I'm not interesting. You're lying to yourself if you believe that. The crudo arrived. Paper-thin slices of fish arranged like art on white plates. Lena stared at it, her appetite somewhere back in her apartment with the version of herself who'd thought tonight would end differently. Eat, Lucien said. You haven't had anything since lunch, and that was just a salad. She looked up sharply. How could you possibly... You keep touching your stomach when you think no one's watching. Hungry gesture. And there's no other reservation under your name tonight, which means you saved your appetite for this. He picked up his fork. So eat. It should have been creepy. Should have sent her running for the exit and maybe a restraining order. But something about the way he said it, matter of fact, no judgment, made her pick up her own fork. The fish dissolved on her tongue. Lemon and salt and something herbal she couldn't identify. Despite everything, it was good. They ate in silence for a few minutes. Lena tried to organize her thoughts, figure out what she'd stumbled into. Across from her, Lucien ate with the precise movements of someone who'd learned table manners early and violently. I should ask what you want from me, Lena said finally. You should. But I don't think I want to know the answer. Smart woman. He finished his crudo, set down his fork with that same precise care. Let me ask you something instead. That man who stood you up tonight, Marcus, wasn't it? Her throat tightened. How... The reservation confirmation email was still open on your phone when you set it down earlier. I have good eyes. He paused. Did you love him? The question hit harder than it should have. Lena looked away toward the windows and the city lights spreading out like fallen stars. I thought I did. That's not an answer. It's the only one I have. She heard him shift in his seat. When she looked back, his expression had changed. Softer somehow. Or maybe just less guarded. My father used to say that love is just another word for leverage, Lucien said. Find what someone loves and you own them. He picked up his wine glass, studied the dark liquid. I think he was right about a lot of things, but maybe not that. Your father sounds like a real prince. He was a bastard, said flatly. A fact, not an insult. But he understood power. And you? Lena heard herself ask. Do you understand power? His smile was sharp enough to cut. I am power, amore. In this city, nothing moves without my permission. No buildings go up, no contracts get signed, no one rises. He leaned forward slightly. And no one falls without me allowing it. Lena should have been terrified. Should have excused herself and run, and maybe moved to a different city entirely. But something in his voice wasn't a threat. It was just truth. The kind of truth people usually hid behind euphemisms and political language. That sounds exhausting, she said. He blinked, then laughed. Actually laughed. And the sound transformed his face completely, made him look younger, almost human. You know what? It really fucking is. The main courses arrived. Lena hadn't ordered, but apparently Lucien had decided for her. Some kind of pasta with truffle that smelled like heaven. Her stomach reminded her that she'd skipped breakfast and lunch, too nervous about tonight to eat. They ate, talked. Somewhere between the pasta and the arrival of a dessert she definitely didn't order, Lena realized she'd stopped thinking about Marcus. Stopped thinking about the humiliation and the three-word text message and the carefully planned future that had evaporated. Lucien told her about growing up in Naples, though he left out more than he included. About coming to America at 16 and building something from nothing. He asked her about her work, marketing for a mid-sized firm downtown, and actually listened to her answers. Didn't interrupt, didn't try to fix things, just listened. It was disconcerting. Why aren't you married? Lena asked, emboldened by 2 glasses of wine and the surreal nature of the entire evening. Haven't found someone willing to put up with me. I don't believe that. No? He tilted his head. Why not? Because you're... She gestured vaguely at him, at the suit and the face and the controlled power radiating off him like heat. You. You could have anyone. Having someone and keeping someone are different things. He set down his wine glass, and something flickered across his face too fast for her to read. My world isn't kind to the people in it. Easier to keep them out entirely. Sounds lonely. It is. The honesty of it stole her breath. No deflection, no joke to lighten the moment. Just that simple admission hanging in the air between them. Lena's phone buzzed on the table. She'd forgotten she'd left it face up, forgotten to turn it over and ignore it the way she'd planned. Marcus's name appeared on the screen, her stomach clenched. Lucian's eyes flickered to the phone, then back to her face. You going to answer that? No. Good. The phone stopped buzzing. 5 seconds later, it started again. He's persistent, Lucian observed. He's an asshole. Also accurate. He reached across the table, and for a wild second, Lena thought he was going to take her hand. Instead, he picked up her phone. May I? Why? Because I'm going to do what you want to do, but won't let yourself. He didn't wait for permission. Swiped to answer, put the phone to his ear. Lena's phone. His voice was pleasant, cold as Arctic water. No, this is Lucy Yen. Who the fuck are you? Lena heard Marcus's voice on the other end, tinny with confusion. She couldn't make out the words, but she heard the tone. Defensive. Annoyed. Marcus, Lucien said, as if tasting the name and finding it wanting. Right. The man who was supposed to meet her tonight but couldn't be bothered to show up. That Marcus. More noise from the phone, louder now, angry. Lucien's expression didn't change. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to delete her number. You're going to lose her address. You're going to forget she exists. And if I find out you've contacted her again, if I find out you've so much as thought about her, I'm going to take a very personal interest in your life. Do you understand? Silence from the phone. I asked if you understand. Who the fuck are you? Marcus's voice, loud enough for Lena to hear now. You can't. I'm Lucian Moretti. He said it quietly. Let it sink in. Now, do you understand? The line went dead. Lucian set the phone down gently on the table between them. Problem solved. Lena stared at him. Her heart was racing, adrenaline and wine and shock making her thoughts sharp and strange. You can't just... I can. I did. He met her eyes. And I'm not sorry. He'll call back. He won't. The certainty in his voice made her believe it. Made her realize that Marcus, ambitious, climbing the corporate ladder Marcus, who networked at every opportunity and name-dropped executives at parties, knew exactly who Lucian Moretti was. And what he could do. This is insane, Lena said. Yes. I should leave. Thank you for dinner, but I should... You should, Lucian agreed. But do you want to? She opened her mouth, closed it. Because the answer should have been yes. Obviously yes. Get the hell away from the mob boss who just threatened her ex-boyfriend. But the word wouldn't come. One more drink, Lucian said. Not quite a question. Then I'll have my driver take you home. Or you walk out now, and this was just a strange evening you'll tell your friends about later. He paused. Your choice. Lena looked at him, really looked. Past the expensive suit and the dangerous reputation and the face that belonged on a movie screen. Looked at the man who'd stepped into her path when he had no reason to. Who'd given her an exit from humiliation. Who'd listened to her talk about work like it mattered. Who looked at her like she was interesting instead of just pretty. One more drink, she heard herself say. His smile was slow, devastating. Good. They moved to the bar area, away from the table where her relationship had officially died. The bar was quieter, darker, with leather seats and low music. Lucienne ordered whiskey, single malt, older than she was, and she got another glass of wine because switching to liquor seemed like a bad idea. Tell me something true, Lucienne said once they were settled into a corner booth, close enough that their shoulders almost touched. Like what? Like something you've never told anyone else. Lena laughed. Couldn't help it. That's a hell of a request. I'm a hell of a guy. She sipped her wine, tried to decide if she was drunk enough to be honest or just drunk enough to be stupid. I'm terrified I'm going to end up like my mother. How's that? Alone. 60 years old and still waiting for someone to choose her. She gave my father 20 years and he left her for his secretary. Cliché, right? Lena looked into her wine glass. After that she dated, but she always picked men who were leaving, who had one foot out the door already, like she was practicing for the inevitable. And you think you're doing the same thing. I know I am. The words came out bitter. 3 years with Marcus, 3 years of maybes and we'll sees and let's not rush things. And I stayed, kept staying, kept hoping he'd finally pick me. But he didn't. No. Lucian was quiet for a moment, then, my mother died when I was 8. Cancer, slow and ugly. His voice was neutral, but his hand tightened around his whiskey glass. My father remarried 6 months later. A woman half his age who smiled at him and spent his money and fucked his business partners when he was out of town. Lena looked at him. I'm sorry. Don't be. She taught me something important. What's that? That love is fiction people tell themselves to justify staying when they should leave. He drained his whiskey. But wanting is real, honest. You want someone, you take them. You don't, you walk away. No pretending, no wasted years. That's bleak. That's true. She should have argued, should have defended love and commitment and all the things she'd been raised to believe in. But sitting there in the dim bar with Lucien Moretti's shoulder touching hers, Lena couldn't find the words. So what do you want? She asked instead. He looked at her, really looked, and the intensity in his eyes made her breath catch. Right now, I want to know if that dress unzips from the back or the side. Heat flooded through her. That's honest. His hand came up, fingers brushing her jawline so lightly she might have imagined it. I want to know what you taste like, sound like. I want to know if you're as strong as I think you are, or if that's just armor you wear to keep people out. You don't know me. I know enough. His thumb traced her lower lip. I know you stayed in a relationship that was slowly killing you because you thought that's what you were supposed to do. I know you got dressed up for a man who couldn't even cancel to your face. I know you walk into rooms like you're ready for war because you've learned that's the only way to survive. Lena couldn't breathe. Stop! Why? Because you're dangerous, terrifying, everything she should run from. Because this is crazy. So leave. But his hand was still on her face, and she was leaning into it instead of away. I don't do things like this, Lena said. What things? This. Whatever this is, I don't go home with strange men. I'm not asking you to come home with me. His hand dropped away and she felt the loss of it like cold water. I'm asking if you want to. The distinction mattered, somehow. Lena looked at him, at this man who'd appeared out of nowhere and rewritten her entire evening, who'd threatened her ex-boyfriend and bought her dinner and told her true things in dark bars, who looked at her like she was a puzzle he wanted to solve instead of a trophy he wanted to collect. This was insane. This was dangerous. This was... Yes, she heard herself say. Lucian's eyes darkened. Yes, what? Yes, I want to. He stood in one fluid motion, extending his hand. Then let's go. The drive to his place took 20 minutes through city streets that gleamed with rain she hadn't noticed starting. The car was a black town car with leather seats and a driver who kept his eyes straight ahead and didn't ask questions. Lucien sat close enough that she felt the heat of him, far enough that she had space to change her mind. She didn't change her mind. His apartment, penthouse, really, took up the entire top floor of a building she'd passed 100 times without really seeing. All glass and clean lines and art that probably cost more than she'd make in a lifetime. Drink? Lucien asked, shrugging out of his suit jacket. I'm good. He poured himself 2 fingers of something amber, drank it standing at the window, looking out at the city spread below like he owned it. Maybe he did. Lena walked to the window, stood beside him. From up here, the city looked small, manageable, like something you could hold in your hand. Second thoughts? Lucien asked without looking at her. About 100. Want to leave? No. He turned then, and the look in his eyes made her stomach flip. Want, raw and undisguised. Tell me what you need, he said quietly. I don't know what you mean. Yes, you do. He set his glass down, stepped closer. You've spent 3 years with a man who made you guess, made you perform, made you wait. His hand came up, fingers threading through her carefully styled hair. So tell me, what do you need? The question broke something open inside her. I need... Her voice cracked. I need to not think for a while. I can do that. He kissed her, not gentle, not tentative. Kissed her like he meant it, like he'd been thinking about it all night. His hands fisted in her hair, tilting her head back, and she opened for him because what else was there to do? He tasted like whiskey and want. Lena grabbed his shirt, pulled him closer, and he made a sound low in his throat that went straight through her. The kiss deepened, turned hungry. His hands dropped to her waist, pulled her flush against him, and she could feel every hard line of him through the emerald silk. Bedroom, she managed against his mouth. Here. What? Here. He walked her backward until her spine hit the window, cold glass against her shoulders. I want you here. Want to fuck you against this window with the whole city watching. Her breath came in short gasps. Someone could see. Let them. His mouth found her throat, teeth scraping sensitive skin. His hands found the zipper of her dress, back it turned out, and pulled it down in one smooth motion. The silk pooled at her feet. Lena stood there in just her underwear, black lace because she'd planned for this evening to end differently, and watched Lucien's eyes go dark. Christo, he breathed, look at you. She should have felt exposed, vulnerable. Instead, she felt powerful, wanted. For the first time in 3 years, she felt seen. Your turn, she said, reaching for his shirt. He let her undress him, watched her with those dark eyes as she fumbled with buttons and belt. And when he was finally naked in front of her, all lean muscle and scattered scars and ink she hadn't expected, she couldn't look away. See something you like? His voice was rough. Maybe. He smiled, lifted her like she weighed nothing, wrapped her legs around his waist. Hold on. She did. What happened next was raw and desperate, and nothing like the careful, choreographed sex she'd had with Marcus. Lucien took her apart against that window, and she let him, let herself break, let herself feel. After, they ended up in his bed, massive and dark with sheets that felt like sin. Lena lay there, heart still racing, and tried to figure out what she'd just done. Lucien rolled onto his side, propped his head on one hand. You okay? I don't know. Fair enough. His other hand traced patterns on her hip, lazy, possessive. Stay tonight. That's probably a bad idea. Probably. He pulled her closer, tucked her against his chest. Stay anyway. She should have left. Should have called a cab and gone home and pretended this evening had never happened. Should have recognized this for what it was. A rebound, a mistake, a moment of temporary insanity. But his hand was warm on her hip, and his heartbeat was steady under her ear, and for the first time in longer than she could remember, Lena felt safe. Okay, she whispered. I'll stay. She felt him smile against her hair. Good. She woke up to sun streaming through floor-to-ceiling windows and the smell of coffee. For a disoriented moment, Lena couldn't remember where she was. Then it all came back in a rush. The restaurant, the text, Lucien. Oh God. She sat up, and pain shot through muscles she'd forgotten she had. The sheet slid down, and she realized she was still naked. Her dress was presumably still in the living room where he'd taken it off her. Morning, Lena yelped, yanking the sheet up to her chest. Lucien stood in the doorway, wearing nothing but pajama pants slung low on his hips and holding 2 mugs of coffee. In the morning light, he looked younger, almost normal, except for the scars, and the tattoos, and the fact that he was Lucien goddamn Moretti. I should go, Lena said. Drink coffee first. He crossed to the bed, handed her a mug. Black, 2 sugars. That's how you drink it, right? How did you... She stopped. Never mind. I don't want to know. He smiled. Sat on the edge of the bed. Sleep okay? Yes? She had, actually. Better than she had in months, which was concerning for about 17 different reasons. They drank coffee in silence. Outside, the city was waking up. Car horns, sirens in the distance, normal sounds from a very not normal morning. I should go, Lena said again. You said that already. I mean it this time. Do you? He set his mug on the nightstand, turned to look at her. Or are you just panicking? Can it be both? Sure. He reached out, tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. The gesture was tender, wrong, right. But you're still here. That's because you gave me coffee and I'm naked. I can solve one of those problems. He stood, walked to a closet that was bigger than her bedroom, came back with a t-shirt and sweatpants. Here. She took them. Thanks. Bathroom's through there, he pointed. Take your time. He left, closing the door behind him with a soft click. Lena sat there for a long moment, holding the borrowed clothes and trying to organize her thoughts. Last night had been... She didn't have words for what last night had been. Insane. Incredible. A huge mistake that had felt terrifyingly right. She got up, found her underwear tangled in the sheets and put it on, pulled on his shirt. It hit her mid-thigh and smelled like him, and the sweatpants that she had to roll 3 times at the waist. The bathroom was all marble and chrome. She washed her face, rinsed out her mouth with the spare toothbrush he'd left out, because of course he had, and tried not to look too closely at the woman in the mirror. That woman had slept with a mob boss. That woman had liked it. When she emerged, Lucian was in the kitchen. He'd put on a shirt, disappointing, and was doing something with eggs that smelled incredible. Hungry? He asked without turning around. Starving. He plated eggs and toast and something that might have been prosciutto, set it at the breakfast bar beside a glass of orange juice. They ate. Lena tried to think of something to say that wasn't completely insane. Failed. So, Lucien said finally, we should probably talk. About? About what happens next. Her stomach dropped. Here it was. The part where he thanked her for a nice evening and sent her on her way. The part where she became another story in the life of Lucien Moretti. Right, she said. Yeah, I'll just finish this and then... I want to see you again. She stopped mid-bite. What? Tonight, dinner. Actual dinner this time, not a rescue operation. He leaned against the counter, arms crossed. What do you say? I say that's a terrible idea. Probably. I don't even know you. So get to know me. You're... She gestured vaguely. You. And I'm me. This doesn't make sense. Since when do things have to make sense? Since always, that's how the world works? He smiled. Not my world. Lena set down her fork, looked at him, really looked. He was serious. He actually wanted to see her again. This wasn't just a one-night thing. This was dangerous. This was dangerous. One dinner, she heard herself say. One dinner. And if it's weird, then we don't do it again. He pushed off the counter, came around to her side of the breakfast bar. But it won't be weird. You don't know that. Don't I? He kissed her, soft this time, sweet. And when he pulled back, Lena had to remind herself how to breathe. 7 o'clock, he said. I'll pick you up. You don't know where I live. His smile was sharp. Yes, I do. Of course he did. Lena finished her breakfast, let Lucien call his driver, stood in his enormous living room in his borrowed clothes while he carefully folded her emerald dress into a bag she could carry. Tonight, he said, walking her to the door. Tonight, she agreed. The ride home took 15 minutes. Lena sat in the back of the town car and watched the city stream past and tried to figure out what the hell she'd just done. Her phone buzzed. Multiple times. She'd ignored it since last night, but now she pulled it out. 17 missed calls from Marcus. 12 text messages. She opened them, read through the progression from confused to angry to scared. The last one, sent 20 minutes ago. Please tell me you're okay. I'm sorry. Can we talk? Lena looked at the message for a long moment. Then she deleted it. Deleted all of them. Blocked his number. Problem solved. Her apartment felt small when she got back. Cramped. She dropped the bag with her dress on the couch and stood in the middle of her living room trying to feel like herself again. It didn't work. A shower helped. Clean clothes helped more. By the time she'd made fresh coffee and settled at her kitchen table, Lena almost felt normal. Her phone buzzed with a new message. Unknown number, where's something you can move in? She stared at it, typed back, how did you get this number? I told you. I make it my business to know things. That's still creepy. I've been called worse. Despite everything, Lena smiled. What kind of place are we going that I need to move? You'll see. 7 p.m. Don't be late. She shouldn't go, should recognize this for what it was, a mistake wrapped in good sex and better wine. Should block this number too and pretend last night never happened. Instead, she opened her closet and started looking for something she could move in. The rest of the day passed in a blur. Lena tried to work. She had a presentation due Monday, but couldn't focus. Tried to call her best friend, then remembered she had no idea how to explain any of this. Tried to talk herself out of going. Failed. At 6:30, she was dressed in dark jeans and a silk blouse. Nice enough for dinner, practical enough for whatever weird thing Lucian had planned. Her hair was down, makeup minimal. She looked like herself. Mostly. The knock came at exactly 7. Lena opened the door, and there he was. Lucian Moretti in jeans and a black Henley that should have made him look casual but somehow just made him look more dangerous. Ready? He asked. No? Perfect. He held out his hand. Let's go. She took it. The car, different from last night, a sleek black SUV, was waiting at the curb. Lucien opened the door for her, slid in beside her. The driver pulled away from the curb without being told where to go. Where are we going? Lena asked. You'll see. That's not an answer. It's the only one you're getting. They drove through the city, away from the glittering downtown toward neighborhoods Lena didn't know well. The buildings got shorter, the streets got quieter. After 20 minutes, they pulled up to a building that looked like an old warehouse. This is where you murder me, isn't it? Lena said. Lucian's laugh was genuine. If I was going to murder you, I wouldn't bring you somewhere this obvious. Comforting? He got out, came around to open her door. Trust me. I don't. Liar. He was right. Somehow, impossibly, she did trust him. They walked through a door that looked abandoned but opened smoothly. Inside was a boxing gym? Lena stared at the ring in the center of the space, the heavy bags hanging along one wall, the speed bags and jump ropes and equipment she couldn't name. I come here when I need to think, Lucien said. Thought you might want to hit something. Why would I want to? Because your ex-boyfriend wasted 3 years of your life. Because you're angry. Because you deserve to break something that isn't yourself. The words hit harder than she expected. Lena looked at the ring, at the heavy bag nearest them. I don't know how to box. I'll teach you. Why? Because you need this. He shrugged out of his jacket. And because I want to see what you look like when you stop holding back. He wrapped her hands himself, careful, methodical, his fingers brushing her wrists as he secured the tape. Then he led her to the heavy bag, positioned himself behind her. Hit it, he said. Just hit it? However you want. Lena made a fist, threw an awkward punch. The bag barely moved. Again, Lucien said. She hit it again, harder. The impact jarred up her arm. Again. Don't think. Just feel. Hit it like it's everything that's ever hurt you. And something broke open inside her. Lena hit the bag. Hit it like it was Marcus's text message. Like it was 3 years of waiting. Like it was every time she'd made herself smaller to fit into someone else's life. She hit it until her arms ached, and her breath came in gasps, and tears she hadn't known were there streamed down her face. Lucien caught her when her legs gave out, held her while she sobbed into his chest like she was breaking, like she was finally letting herself break. I've got you, he murmured into her hair. I've got you. When the tears stopped, she pulled back. I'm sorry, I don't know what Don't apologize. His thumb wiped tears from her cheek. Not for this. Not ever. She looked up at him. This man who was supposed to be dangerous, who was dangerous, who'd somehow seen exactly what she needed. Thank you, she whispered. Don't thank me yet. Why not? His phone rang. He glanced at the screen, and something changed in his face. Went cold. Hard. I need to take this, he said, already moving away from her. Don't go anywhere. He walked to the far corner of the gym. Lena couldn't hear the conversation, but she could see him, could see the way his shoulders tensed, the way his free hand clenched into a fist. Something was wrong. He ended the call. stood there for a moment with his back to her. When he turned around, the man looking at her wasn't the one who'd wrapped her hands and taught her to hit. This was Lucien Moretti, the other Lucien, the one people whispered about. "We need to go," he said. "What's wrong?" "Nothing you need to worry about." "Lucien." "Now, Lena." The edge in his voice made her flinch, but she unwrapped her hands, grabbed her jacket, followed him to the car. The drive back was silent, tense. The driver kept glancing in the rearview mirror like he was waiting for orders. They pulled up in front of her building. "I'll walk you up," Lucien said. "You don't have to. I'll walk you up." They rode the elevator in silence, walked down the hall to her door. Lena unlocked it, turned to say goodnight. Lucien was looking past her, at something in her apartment. "Don't move," he said quietly. "What?" "Lena, don't move." His hand went to the small of his back, and when it came back, he was holding a gun. Lena's heart stopped. "Someone's been in your apartment," Lucien said. His voice was flat, cold. "And they might still be here." The gun looked wrong in Lucien's hand. Not because he didn't know how to hold it, he clearly did, with the easy confidence of someone who'd held one 1,000 times before, but because 5 minutes ago they'd been in a boxing gym and she'd been crying into his chest and everything had felt almost normal. Now, nothing was normal. Lena's apartment door hung open about 3 inches. She knew with absolute certainty that she'd locked it when they left. She always locked it. Growing up in the city taught you that much. "Stay behind me," Lucien said. Not a request. He pushed the door open with his foot, gun raised, swept left, then right. Moved into her apartment with the fluid precision of someone who'd cleared rooms before. Lena's legs felt like water, but she followed. What else was she supposed to do? Stand in the hallway and wait? Her living room looked wrong. Not destroyed, nothing was broken or overturned, but wrong. The throw pillows on her couch were rearranged. The books on her shelf weren't quite aligned the way she left them. Small things, details most people wouldn't notice. She noticed. "Kitchen," Lucien said, moving through the space. Lena watched him check her tiny kitchen, her bathroom, her bedroom. He moved like a predator, all coiled muscle and controlled violence. When he finally lowered the gun, some of the tension bled out of his shoulders. "Whoever was here is gone," he said. "How can you tell?" "Because we're still alive." The casual way he said it made her stomach turn. "That's not funny. Wasn't meant to be." He walked back to her living room, studying the space with those dark eyes that missed nothing. "What's missing?" "What?" "Look around. What did they take?" Lena forced herself to focus. Her laptop was still on the coffee table, her TV mounted on the wall. The cash she kept in her desk drawer for emergencies, she checked, still there. "Nothing," she said. "I don't think they took anything." Then they were looking for something. Lucien holstered his gun. She hadn't even seen where he kept it, and pulled out his phone. Or sending a message. A message? What kind of... The words died in her throat as she saw it. On her coffee table, arranged carefully beside her laptop. A photograph. One she'd never seen before. It showed her and Lucien leaving his building that morning. She was wearing his clothes, her dress in a bag over her shoulder. The angle was from across the street. Professional. Deliberate. Her hands started shaking. Lucien picked up the photograph, studied it. His jaw tightened. "Fuck. Why would someone... Because I made a mistake." He set the photo down, turned to look at her. "I got careless. Let myself get distracted." "I'm a distraction." "That's not what I meant." "Then what did you mean?" Her voice was rising, panic sharpening it into something jagged. "Why is there a photo of us in my apartment? Why did someone break into my home?" "Because people watch me. Always. And now they're watching you too." He scrubbed a hand over his face, and for a second he looked tired, human. "This is why I can't. Can't what? This, you, any of it." He gestured between them. "I told you my world isn't kind to the people in it. I meant it." Lena stared at him, at this man who'd given her an exit from humiliation and taught her to throw a punch and held her while she cried. This man who'd just cleared her apartment with a gun like it was something he did every Tuesday. "Get out," she said. "Lena. Get out." She pointed at the door. You said this was a mistake. Fine. It was. So leave. I'm not leaving you alone, not with... I don't care. The adrenaline was wearing off, leaving something cold and sharp in its wake. You brought this into my life. Someone broke into my home because of you, so fix it somewhere else. Lucian's expression went flat, unreadable. You don't mean that. Don't tell me what I mean. If I leave, you're vulnerable. I was vulnerable before you showed up at that restaurant. I'll be vulnerable after you leave. That's life. God damn it, Lena. Go! He looked at her for a long moment. She watched something shift behind his eyes. Some calculation she couldn't read. Then he pulled out his phone, made a call. Marco, I need a team at... He rattled off her address. Full surveillance. Nobody gets in or out without clearance. Pause. I don't care what you have to move. Do it. He hung up, looked at her. You want me gone? Fine. But I'm leaving protection. I don't want your protection. You're getting it anyway. He headed for the door, stopped with his hand on the frame. Lock this behind me. Don't open it for anyone except the men I'm sending. They'll identify themselves as building maintenance. Let them in. And if I don't? Then you're more stubborn than you are smart. He pulled something from his pocket, a business card, and set it on the table beside the photograph. My private number. You need anything, you call, day or night. Understand? She didn't answer. Lucian left. Lena locked the door behind him, threw the deadbolt, added the chain. Then she stood there in her violated apartment and tried to breathe through the panic clawing at her chest. Her phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer. Then she thought about the photograph, about someone watching her, about being alone in an apartment they'd already broken into once. Hello? Miss Hartwell? Male voice. Professional. This is Marco Rossi. Mr. Moretti sent me to ensure your security. My team will be at your building in 10 minutes. We'll be wearing build-safe maintenance uniforms. May we have permission to enter? How do I know you're really from... Mr. Moretti said you'd ask that. He told me to tell you that you hit the bag 47 times before you started crying, and that you take your coffee with 2 sugars. Something in her chest twisted. Fine. 10 minutes. Thank you, Miss Hartwell. She hung up, looked around her apartment, at the photograph on the table, at the books that weren't quite right, at the life she'd built that had just been invaded by someone else's war. Her phone buzzed with a text from her best friend, Sarah. Drinks tomorrow? You've been MIA all week. Lena stared at the message. What would she even say? Sorry, can't. I accidentally slept with a mob boss and now someone's watching me? She typed, rain check? Works crazy. You okay? Yeah, just tired, liar. But I'll let it slide. Call me if you need anything. Lena set the phone down, walked to her bedroom. The bed was made. She always made it before leaving, but something felt off. She opened her closet. Her clothes hung exactly where she'd left them, but she could smell it. Cologne. Not hers. Not Lucian's. Something cheaper. Heavier. Someone had been in here. In her bedroom. In her closet. Her skin crawled. The knock came exactly 10 minutes later. 3 sharp raps. Miss Hartwell? Build safe maintenance. She looked through the peephole. 2 men in navy coveralls with company logos. They held toolboxes. Looked bored. Exactly like maintenance workers. Except she could see the bulge under the shorter one's jacket. The way they both stood with their backs to the wall, never quite relaxed. She opened the door. Miss Hartwell. The taller one, Marco, she assumed, gave her a professional nod. We'll be installing upgraded security measures. Shouldn't take more than an hour. We'll try not to disturb you. What kind of security measures? New locks, window sensors, cameras in the hallway. He said it like it was normal, like people got mob-grade security installed in their apartment every day. Mr. Moretti's orders. Of course they are. If Marco caught her sarcasm, he didn't show it. We'll work quickly, ma'am. They did. Efficient, professional. They didn't ask questions or make small talk, just installed new deadbolts, 3 of them, and did something to her windows she didn't understand. One of them spent 20 minutes in her hallway with a drill. Lena sat on her couch and watched them work, and tried to process what her life had become in less than 24 hours. Her phone rang. Lucienne. She stared at it. Let it go to voicemail. It rang again. What? Are they there? Yes. Good. Pause. I'm sorry. For which part? All of it. His voice was rough, tired. You were right. This was a mistake. I should have left you alone. But you didn't. No. So now what? Now you let my people keep you safe until I figure out who's watching us. Then we both move on with our lives. It should have been exactly what she wanted to hear. A clean exit, an ending. Okay, Lena said. Okay? Yeah, okay. She hung up before he could say anything else. Marco appeared in her doorway. We're finished, Miss Hartwell. You've got 3 new deadbolts. Keys are on your kitchen counter. Your windows are now wired. Anyone tries to open them from outside will know. And there are cameras covering your hallway and the building entrance. Thank you. One more thing. He pulled out what looked like a car key fob. Panic button. You press this, we respond. 2 minutes max. Keep it on you. Is that really necessary? His expression didn't change. Mr. Moretti thinks so. After they left, Lena locked all 3 new deadbolts and stood in the middle of her living room. The apartment felt different now. Safer, maybe. Or more like a prison. Hard to tell the difference. She didn't sleep that night. Every sound, the building settling, her neighbors moving around, cars on the street below, sent her heart racing. She kept the panic button on her nightstand and her phone in her hand and told herself this was temporary. Morning came slow and gray. Lena dragged herself out of bed, made coffee with shaking hands, tried to pretend everything was normal. Her phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. Good morning. She stared at it, didn't respond. Another text. I can see you in the kitchen. Nice pajamas. Ice flooded her veins. Lena spun around, looking at her windows. They were closed, curtained. Nobody could see in unless... Another text. The cameras go both ways, Lena. Didn't Lucien tell you? She grabbed the panic button, pressed it. Marco and his team were through her door in 90 seconds. What happened? Marco demanded. Lena showed him her phone. His expression went dark. Get dressed. We're moving you. Moving me where? Somewhere safe. Now. I have work. You have someone watching you who knows our security protocols. He was already on his phone, barking orders in rapid Italian. Get dressed. Bring essentials only. We leave in 5 minutes. I'm not going anywhere until someone tells me what's happening. Marco looked at her, really looked. Miss Hartwell, whoever sent those texts knows about the cameras we installed, which means they either watched us install them or they have access to our systems. Either way, you're not safe here. Mr. Moretti's orders are to move you to a secure location until we identify the threat. And if I refuse? Then I carry you out anyway. Your choice whether that's dignified or not. Lena wanted to argue, wanted to tell them all to go to hell, but the texts were still on her phone and her hands were still shaking, and someone had been in her bedroom. Fine, she said. 5 minutes. She threw clothes into a bag, toiletries, her laptop, the essentials Marco had mentioned, tried not to think about how her life had spiraled so completely out of control. The car was waiting downstairs. Black SUV with tinted windows. Marco hustled her into the back seat like she was the president under threat of assassination. Where are we going? Lena asked as they pulled away from her building. Mr. Moretti's property, 40 minutes outside the city. I thought the whole point was getting away from Lucien. The whole point is keeping you alive. They drove in silence. The city fell away, replaced by suburbs and then countryside. Trees. Rolling hills. The kind of scenery Lena usually only saw in car commercials. Finally, they turned onto a private road, drove for another 10 minutes through woods that probably cost more per acre than her entire apartment. Then the trees opened up and... Jesus, Lena breathed. The house, if you could call it that, sprawled across a hilltop like something from a movie. Stone and glass and modern lines, beautiful, isolated, surrounded by walls she hadn't noticed until they drove through the gate. Welcome to Il Refugio, Marco said. Mr. Moretti's country estate. Of course he has a country estate. They pulled up to the main entrance. Another man, older, gray-haired, wearing a suit despite the early hour, opened her door. Miss Hartwell, I'm Anton, Mr. Moretti's house manager. Welcome. He had a faint accent she couldn't place. German, maybe. Your room is prepared, if you'll follow me. Lena followed because what choice did she have? The inside of the house was somehow more intimidating than the outside. High ceilings, art that belonged in museums, furniture that looked like it cost more than she made in a year, and everywhere that sense of controlled power, like the house itself was watching, waiting. Anton led her upstairs, down a hallway lined with doors, to a room at the end. "You're sweet," he said, opening the door. "Mr. Moretti thought you'd prefer something with natural light." The room was 3 times the size of her bedroom at home. King bed, sitting area, French doors that opened onto a private balcony overlooking the grounds. The bathroom had a tub big enough to swim in. "This is—" Lena didn't have words. "If you need anything, dial 0 on the house phone. I'll have breakfast sent up shortly." Anton gave a small bow. "Please, make yourself comfortable." He left. Lena dropped her bag and walked to the French doors, opened them, stepped out onto the balcony. The view was insane. Manicured gardens rolling down to a tree line. A pool. Olympic-sized, with a pool house that was bigger than her apartment. In the distance, what looked like stables. This was where Lucien Moretti came to get away from the city, to be alone. And now she was here. Her phone rang. "Sarah." Lena almost didn't answer. Then she thought about the texts, about someone watching, about how Sarah would worry if she went completely dark. "Hey," she said, trying to sound normal. "Where are you? I stopped by your apartment. Your neighbor said she saw you leave with security guards." "It's complicated." "Lena, what's going on? I can't—" She stopped, started over. "Remember how I told you Marcus stood me up? That piece of shit, yeah. Someone helped me at the restaurant, and things got complicated." "Complicated how?" "I'm staying with him for a few days, just until some stuff gets sorted out." Silence on the other end. Then, "You're staying with a guy you just met?" "I know how it sounds." "It sounds insane. Who is he?" Lena looked out at the grounds, at the wealth and power on casual display. "Someone I probably shouldn't have gotten involved with." "Lena, I'm fine, I promise. I just need a few days." "If you're in trouble, I'm not. I'll call you soon, okay?" She hung up before Sarah could argue. The house phone rang. Lena stared at it, picked it up. "Hello? Did you sleep?" Lucian's voice, he sounded tired. "No? Me neither." Pause. "Anton said you're settled. If you call being kidnapped and dragged to a compound settled, then sure. You weren't kidnapped. You were protected." "Semantics." She heard him sigh. "I'm coming out there. We need to talk." "I don't want to talk." "Too bad. I'll be there in an hour." He hung up. Lena set the phone down, walked back to the balcony, gripped the railing hard enough that her knuckles went white. This was supposed to be simple. One night, one mistake. Something she could file away and forget about. Instead, she was trapped in a mansion with security guards and panic buttons, and a man who kept pulling her back in every time she tried to leave. Breakfast arrived on a silver tray. Coffee, pastries, fresh fruit. All of it probably prepared by some chef who'd trained in Paris, or wherever rich people's chefs trained. Lena ate because her body needed fuel, drank the coffee because she needed to think. An hour later, she heard tires on gravel, looked out to see a different black SUV pull up to the entrance. Lucien got out. Even from this distance, she could see the tension in his shoulders, the way he moved, purposeful, controlled, dangerous. He said something to Marco, who nodded and headed back to the car. Then Lucien looked up, directly at her balcony. Their eyes met across the distance. Lena's heart did that stupid thing it had been doing since the restaurant, that flutter she couldn't control and didn't want. She watched him disappear into the house. 30 seconds later, someone knocked on her door. She knew it was him before she opened it. Lucien stood in the hallway, still wearing yesterday's clothes. He looked like he hadn't slept, like he'd spent the night doing something she probably didn't want to know about. "Can I come in?" he asked. "Do I have a choice?" "Yes." She stepped aside. He walked past her into the room, went straight to the balcony, stood there looking out at his property with his hands shoved in his pockets. "I found out who's watching us," he said without preamble. Lena's stomach clenched. "Who?" "My second in command, Valeria De Luca." He said the name like it tasted bad. She runs my operations when I'm distracted. And apparently she's decided you're a problem that needs solving. Why would she? Because I broke protocol. He turned to face her. I never bring women into my life, never. It's a rule I've had for years, and then you showed up and I... He stopped. Valeria sees you as a weakness, something my enemies could exploit. So what, she's going to kill me? No. The word was flat, certain. Because I won't let her. How reassuring. Lena, no! She cut him off. You don't get to do this. You don't get to drag me into your world and then act like you're doing me a favor by protecting me from it. I know. Do you? Because from where I'm standing, you're the problem. Not Valeria. Not whoever broke into my apartment. You. He flinched. Actually flinched. You're right. I know I'm right, which is why I'm giving you a choice. He pulled something from his pocket. An envelope. Inside is a plane ticket, first class to anywhere you want to go, and enough cash to start over. New city, new name if you want. You take that, and I make sure Valeria and everyone else forgets you ever existed. Lena stared at the envelope. And if I don't take it, then you stay, and I teach you how to survive my world. His eyes held hers. But understand, if you stay, there's no going back. You'll be part of this. Part of me. And that means blood and violence and things you can't unsee. That's not a choice, that's a threat. It's honesty. Her hands were shaking again. I need time to think. You have until tomorrow morning. After that, Valeria's going to escalate. He set the envelope on the dresser. I'll be downstairs. You need anything? Just call. He started for the door. Lucien. He stopped, looked back. Why me? Lena asked. Out of everyone in that restaurant, everyone in this city, why did you help me? He was quiet for a long moment. Because when I looked at you, I saw someone who was done waiting for permission to exist, and I wanted... He stopped. I wanted to see what you'd do if someone gave you the power to stop waiting. Then he left. Lena stood there holding the envelope, feeling its weight. Inside was freedom, escape, everything she should want. She set it on the dresser and walked away. The rest of the day passed in a strange limbo. Anton brought lunch. Lena didn't eat it. She tried to read a book from the room shelf, all leather-bound classics, because of course, but couldn't focus. Her phone had no signal out here, no way to call Sarah back, no way to check her email or scroll mindlessly through social media. Just silence and her own thoughts. Around 4, she gave up and went downstairs. The house was quiet. Too quiet. She wandered through rooms that looked like museum exhibits, found a library with floor-to-ceiling books, a billiard room, a gym that made the boxing club look shabby. Then she heard voices, coming from behind a closed door at the end of a hallway. Lena knew she shouldn't eavesdrop, knew it was a terrible idea. She moved closer anyway. Cannot be serious. A woman's voice, cold, precise, accent that might have been Italian or might have been something else. This girl is a liability. She's not your concern, Valeria Lucien, harder than she'd ever heard him. Everything about you is my concern. That's my job. Your job is following orders, not questioning them. My job is keeping you alive, and she... A pause. She makes you weak. Careful. I've earned the right to be honest with you, Lucien. We've known each other too long for... Get out. Silence. Excuse me? I said get out. This conversation is over. You're making a mistake. Then it's my mistake to make. Footsteps, coming toward the door. Lena scrambled back, but not fast enough. The door opened, and she found herself face to face with a woman who looked like she could kill someone with her cheekbones. Valeria DeLuca was tall, elegant, wearing a charcoal suit that probably cost more than Lena's car. Her dark hair was pulled back in a severe bun, and her eyes, ice blue, calculating, swept over Lena with the kind of assessment that made her feel dissected. Miss Hartwell. Valeria's voice was smooth, polite, absolutely devoid of warmth. How convenient. I've been wanting to meet you. Valeria. Lucien appeared in the doorway behind her. Leave. In a moment, she smiled at Lena, all teeth. Tell me, Miss Hartwell, do you have any idea what you've stumbled into? Of course you don't. You're just a woman who got stood up and happened to catch the boss's eye. How romantic. The mockery in her voice was surgical. Let me give you some advice, free of charge. Take whatever money Lucian's offering and disappear. Because if you stay, you'll either get him killed or get yourself killed. And I won't let the first one happen. That's enough, Lucian said. Is it? Valeria turned to face him. Because from where I'm standing, you're about to start a war over a woman you've known for 2 days. That's not strategy. That's stupidity. Get out now. For a second, Lena thought Valeria might argue. Then something flickered across her perfect face, something that might have been disappointment or might have been rage, and she walked past them both without another word. The front door slammed hard enough to rattle the windows. Lucien stood there, jaw tight, hands clenched. How much did you hear? Enough. Valeria's woke. Right? Lena finished. She's right, isn't she? This is insane. I should take the money and leave. Yes. Then why does part of me want to stay? He looked at her, really looked, and what she saw in his eyes made her breath catch. Because you're tired of running, he said quietly. Because for once, someone's asking you to stay instead of giving you reasons to leave. That's not fair. No, it's not. They stood there in the hallway, 3 feet apart, while the sun set outside and shadows crept across the marble floor. I met your father, Lena said suddenly. Lucien's expression went carefully blank. What? Earlier, I was walking around and I found this room, office, I guess, and there was this photo. Old. You were maybe 16, standing next to this man who looked just like you, except colder, harder, the kind of man who'd tell his son that love is just leverage. You shouldn't have... He's dead, isn't he? Silence. Lucien. Yes. The word was clipped, final. He's been dead for 8 years. Heart attack during a meeting. Poetic, really. He always said work would be the death of him. Did you love him? I hated him, said without hesitation. He was a bastard who cared more about power than people, but he taught me how to survive in this world. And for that, He stopped. I don't know. Respect him, maybe. Hate him less than I should. That's bleak. That's family. Lena thought about her own father, the man who'd left her mother for his secretary and hadn't spoken to Lena in 3 years. The man she'd stopped trying to call. Yeah, she said. I guess it is. Her phone, the house phone in her room, started ringing. They could hear it echoing down the hallway. You should get that, Lucien said. She didn't move. What if I stayed? Then everything changes. I know. Lena. The phone kept ringing. She turned and walked back to her room, picked up the receiver. Hello? Miss Hartwell? Anton's voice. You have a visitor at the gate, a Mr. David Hartwell. He says he's your father. The world tilted. My what? Should I send him away? Lena's mind raced. Her father. Here. She hadn't spoken to him in 3 years, hadn't even told him she'd moved to this apartment. How did he... She stopped, looked at Lucien, who'd followed her to the room. Did you? No. His face had gone cold, hard. But I'll find out how he found you. Miss Hartwell? Anton again. What would you like me to do? Her hands were shaking. Let him in. Lena, that's a bad idea, Lucien said. He's my father. He's a man who hasn't contacted you in 3 years and somehow found you at my private estate within hours of you arriving. That's not coincidence. He was right. God, he was right. But some stupid part of her, the part that was still 8 years old and waiting for Daddy to come home, needed to know why he was here. Let him in, she told Anton. She hung up, turned to Lucien. This is a mistake, he said. Then it's mine to make. His jaw tightened, but he nodded. I'll be right outside. You don't have to... Yes, I do. 5 minutes later, there was a knock on her door. Lena opened it. Her father stood in the hallway, looking older than she remembered. More gray in his hair, more lines around his eyes. He wore khakis and a polo shirt, country club casual, and held a bouquet of grocery store flowers. Lena, he smiled. The same smile he'd used when he wanted something, when he'd cheated on her mother and come home with apologies and promises. Baby, it's so good to see you. She didn't move aside. How did you find me? Can I come in? We should talk. How did you find me? His smile faltered. Does it matter? I'm here now, and I've missed you so much. You haven't called in 3 years. I know. I'm sorry. Things with Cheryl, they got complicated. But I've been thinking about you, about us. He held out the flowers. Can we start over? Lena looked at the flowers. Carnations. The cheap kind. Her mother's favorite had been orchids, exotic, expensive, difficult to maintain. Her father had never remembered. Why are you really here? She asked. Because you're my daughter. Try again. Something flickered across his face. Annoyance, quickly hidden. Fine. I heard you were seeing someone important. Connected. He leaned in conspiratorially. Lucienne Moretti, right? I did some research, very impressive, and I thought, well, maybe this is a chance for us to reconnect, for me to meet the man who's taking care of my little girl. Bile rose in her throat. You want money. What? No, Lena, that's not... How much do you owe? Baby, you've got this all wrong. How? Much? His shoulders slumped. 70,000. Gambling debts. Some very unpleasant people are looking for me, and I thought, if you could talk to your boyfriend, get out. Lena, please, these people will kill me. They've already... He pulled up his sleeve, showed her bruises. Look what they did. I'm your father. You have to help me. I don't have to do anything. She started to close the door. He grabbed it, held it open. You selfish little bitch. You're living in a mansion, fucking a millionaire, and you can't spare some change for your own father. Lucien appeared out of nowhere. 1 second the hallway was empty. The next he was there, hand wrapped around her father's wrist. Let go of the door, Lucien said quietly. Who the hell are... Her father looked up, saw Lucien's face, went pale. Oh, Mr. Moretti, I was just... Leaving. Lucien's voice was winter. You were just leaving. Sir, if I could just explain... Marco. The security guard materialized. Boss? Escort Mr. Hartwell off the property. If he comes back, break his legs. Her father's eyes went wide. You can't... I'm her father. You're a parasite. Lucien's grip on her father's wrist tightened. And if I ever find out you've contacted her again, I won't tell Marco to stop at your legs. Understand? Marco grabbed her father by the elbow, started dragging him down the hallway. Lena! Her father's voice echoed. Lena, please. They'll kill me. You're my daughter. You owe me. Then he was gone. Lena stood in the doorway, shaking, her breath coming in short gasps, the world tilting and spinning and refusing to settle. Lena, Lucien's voice gentle now. Hey, look at me. She couldn't. If she looked at him, she'd break. Come here. He pulled her into his arms, held her while she shook, while 3 years of silence and abandonment and inherited disappointment crashed over her like a wave. He only came for money, she said into his chest. He didn't care. He never cared. I know. Why doesn't anyone stay? I'm staying. She pulled back, looked up at him. His face was serious, open, no lies in it. You promise? I promise. And despite everything, despite Valeria and the threats and the danger and the absolute insanity of the past 2 days, Lena believed him. Okay, she whispered. Okay, what? I'm staying. No plane ticket, no running. I'm staying. His arms tightened around her. You're sure? No, but I'm doing it anyway. He kissed her, soft and careful and nothing like the desperate collision from before. Kissed her like she was something precious, something worth protecting. When he pulled back, his expression had changed, gone hard again. If you're staying, we need to talk about what that means, he said. Valeria's not going to back down. And there are things about my life, about what I do, that you need to understand before... Her phone buzzed. Text message. She pulled it out, expecting Sarah or maybe Marco. Unknown number. Welcome to the family, Lena. Hope you survive it. A photo loaded beneath the text. It showed her father. In his car. Bruised and bloody, slumped over the steering wheel, and in the windshield, written in what looked like lipstick. Run. Lena's hands went numb. The phone slipped from her fingers. Lucien caught it, looked at the screen. His face went absolutely murderous. "Get away from the windows," he said. "What?" "Now, Lena." He shoved her behind him just as the French doors exploded inward in a shower of glass and the world exploded in glass and sound. Lucien's body slammed into hers, driving them both to the floor as the French doors disintegrated. Shards rained down like deadly confetti, and Lena felt them slice through her shirt, her skin, felt the hot sting of a dozen tiny cuts opening across her shoulders and arms. Then gunfire. Sharp cracks that made her ears ring. "Stay down!" Lucien's weight pinned her to the carpet, one hand wrapped around the back of her head, protecting it. His other hand had already drawn his gun, from where she had no idea, and he fired 3 shots toward the shattered opening without even looking. More gunfire answered. Bullets tore through the wall above them, punched holes in the expensive plaster, sent chunks of ceiling raining down. Lena couldn't breathe, couldn't think. Her mind had fragmented into pure animal panic. Run, hide, survive. "The bathroom," Lucien said into her ear. "On 3. 1. A figure appeared in the destroyed doorway, silhouetted against the fading daylight, holding what looked like a rifle. Lucien didn't wait for 3. He hauled Lena up by her shirt, half dragged, half carried her across the room as more bullets chewed through the space where they'd been lying. She stumbled, her legs refusing to work properly, and he caught her weight without breaking stride. They crashed through the bathroom door. Lucien kicked it shut, locked it, like that would matter against bullets, and shoved her into the bathtub. "Get in. Stay down. Don't move." "What's happening?" "They're trying to kill us. That's what's happening." He was already moving, checking the small window above the toilet. Too small to climb through. No other exits. They were trapped. More gunfire. Someone was in her bedroom now. She could hear footsteps. Heavy boots on expensive carpet. More than one person. Lucien's phone was in his hand. He typed something one-handed while keeping his gun trained on the door. Sent it. Then he looked at her, and something in his expression made her stomach drop. "Whatever happens," he said quietly, "don't come out of that tub until I tell you. Understand?" "Lucien, promise me." "I promise." The bathroom door exploded inward. Lucien fired. Once, twice, 3 times. Someone screamed. Then he was moving, using the doorframe for cover, and Lena pressed herself against the cold porcelain of the tub and tried to make herself smaller. More gunfire. So much of it. The sound was wrong in the enclosed space, too loud, reverberating off tile and marble until it felt like her skull would crack from it. Then silence. Not complete silence. Lena could hear breathing, ragged, pained. Could hear someone moving in the bedroom. Could hear her own heartbeat thundering in her ears. "Lucien?" she whispered. No answer. Terror grabbed her throat. She started to lift her head, to peer over the edge of the tub. "Don't." His voice. Rough, strained, but his. "Stay down." "Are you hurt?" "I'm fine." He was lying. She could hear it in his voice. But before she could argue, more footsteps. Running, coming from multiple directions. Shouting in Italian, commands, responses. Then Marco's voice. "Boss, we're coming in." "Clear," Lucien called back. Suddenly the room was full of men. Marco and his team, all armed, sweeping through with military precision. One of them helped Lucien to his feet. She could see him now, leaning heavily against the doorframe, his left shoulder dark with blood. "You're hit," Marco said. "Flesh wound. How many did we get?" 2 dead in the room. 1 got away through the grounds. Teams are pursuing. Marco's eyes found Lena in the tub. "Miss Hartwell, are you injured?" No, I don't think so." "Get her out of here," Lucien said. "Take her to the safe room, now." "Sir, you need medical—" "I said now." Marco moved to the tub, extended his hand. Lena took it because her legs still weren't working right. He pulled her up, kept a steadying hand on her elbow as he guided her out of the bathroom. She tried not to look at the bedroom. Failed. 2 bodies. One slumped against the wall beneath the shattered window, dark blood pooling beneath him. The other sprawled in the middle of the floor, face down, his rifle still clutched in dead fingers. Lena's stomach heaved. "Don't look," Marco said, turning her away. "Just walk." He led her down the hallway, down a set of stairs she hadn't noticed before, into what looked like a wine cellar. Except at the back, behind racks of bottles that probably cost more than her car, was a steel door. Marco pressed his thumb to a scanner. The door opened with a heavy mechanical sound. "Inside," he said. The safe room was exactly what it sounded like. Concrete walls, no windows, a single bed, a small bathroom, shelves stocked with water and supplies. It looked like a bunker, because that's what it was. "Mr. Moretti will be down shortly," Marco said. "Lock this behind me. Don't open it for anyone except me or the boss. The code is 4729. Wait, but he was already gone. The door swung shut with a heavy thud. Lena stood there for a moment, then reached out and punched in the code. Heard the locks engage. Then she was alone. The silence was worse than the gunfire. At least the gunfire had been noise, action. Something to focus on besides the fact that people had just tried to kill her. Her hands were shaking. Her whole body was shaking. She looked down and saw blood on her shirt, her own, from the glass cuts. Not deep. Just surface wounds, but blood nonetheless. The bathroom in here was small but functional. Lena turned on the water, watched it run clear, then started washing the cuts. The water turned pink. Her hands wouldn't stop trembling. In the mirror, she looked like a stranger, wild-eyed, pale, hair tangled with plaster dust, blood on her collar. This was her life now. This was what staying meant. She thought about the envelope upstairs, the plane ticket, the cash, freedom. But her father's car kept flashing in her mind. The blood, the message written in the windshield. They'd gotten to him in minutes. Minutes. How far would a plane ticket really get her? The door's locks disengaged. Lena spun around, her heart in her throat. Lucien stepped through, his shirt replaced with bandages wrapped around his shoulder. Blood had already seeped through in spots. His face was drawn, tight with pain he was trying to hide. "You okay?" he asked. "Am I?" Lena laughed. It came out wrong, hysterical. "People just tried to kill us, and you're asking if I'm okay. That's generally what you ask someone who almost died." "This isn't funny. I'm not laughing." He moved to the small refrigerator, pulled out a bottle of water, drank half of it in one go. "Your father's alive, by the way. Valeria's people roughed him up and dumped him as bait, but he'll live." The relief was unexpected, unwanted. "How do you know it was Valeria?" "Because I know her." He set the water down, winced as the movement pulled his shoulder. "She's been my second for 8 years. I know how she thinks, how she operates." This was her sending a message. What message? That she's done taking orders. He pulled out his phone, showed her something. A text from an unknown number. "You chose wrong. Now everyone pays." Lena read it twice. "She's going to kill us. She's going to try." That's not reassuring. It's realistic. He pocketed the phone, looked at her with those dark eyes that saw too much. "You can still leave. I can get you out. Canada, maybe? Or South America. Somewhere she won't look. And you?" "I stay. Deal with this. End it. By yourself. That's how I've always done it." Lena crossed her arms, felt the cuts on her shoulders pull and sting. "I'm not leaving." "Lena, I'm not." She met his eyes, held them. "You promised you'd stay, so I'm staying too. That's how this works." Something shifted in his expression. Not quite a smile. Something deeper. "You're insane. I'm learning from the best." This time he did smile. Just a little. Then he moved to the bed, sat down carefully. "Come here." She did. Sat beside him. He took her hand, turned it over, studied the cuts on her palm from the glass. "These need cleaning," he said. "I already did. Not well enough." He got up, went to the bathroom, came back with a first aid kit. Started cleaning her cuts with methodical precision. His hands were steady despite the blood loss, gentle despite the violence he'd just committed. "How many people have you killed?" Lena asked quietly. He didn't look up from her hand. "You don't want to know." "I'm asking anyway." "Enough that I stopped counting." He applied antiseptic. She hissed at the sting. "Sorry." "Don't be." She watched him work. "Do you regret it? Any of them?" "No." The answer was immediate. Final. Everyone I've killed either tried to kill me first or hurt someone under my protection. I don't lose sleep over that. Not even a little? Not even a little. He finished with her right hand, started on the left. My father taught me that hesitation gets you killed. So I don't hesitate. Sounds lonely. It is. He looked up then, met her eyes. Until now. The words hit harder than they should have. Lena felt them settle somewhere in her chest, heavy and warm and terrifying. Lucien. His phone rang. He answered it one-handed, his other hand still holding hers. Talk to me. Pause. His expression went dark. You're sure? Pause. Fuck. Okay, lock it down. Nobody in or out until I get there. He hung up, looked at her. We need to move. Why? What happened? Valeria hit 3 of my warehouses in the last hour, burned them to the ground, killed everyone inside. He stood, pulled her up with him. She's not just sending a message anymore, she's starting a war. Can't you just, I don't know, negotiate? Talk to her? Valeria doesn't negotiate, she eliminates threats. He grabbed a jacket from the closet. Apparently the safe room came fully stocked, and shrugged into it despite his injured shoulder. And right now, the biggest threat to her control is me being distracted by you. So what do? We go somewhere she can't reach us, regroup, figure out who's still loyal. He pulled a gun from a drawer, checked the magazine, handed it to her. Lena stared at it. I don't know how to use that. Safety's here. Point it at what you want to stop. Pull the trigger. That's all you need to know. He grabbed a second gun for himself. Come on! They left the safe room, climbed back up the stairs. The house was full of Marco's team now, armed men sweeping rooms and securing windows. The bodies had been removed from her bedroom, but the blood remained, dark stains on expensive carpet. Car's ready, boss, Marco said, appearing from nowhere. Route's clear for now, but that won't last. Where are we going? Lena asked. The city, Lucien said. My building downtown, top floor. She won't attack there. Too public, too many cameras. We'll be safe long enough to plan. They moved through the house quickly. Lena kept the gun in her hand, finger off the trigger like Lucien had shown her. It felt wrong, heavy, real. The SUV was running in the circular drive. Different driver this time, younger, with a scar along his jaw and eyes that never stopped moving. Lucien opened the door for her. She slid in. He followed and Marco got in front. Go, Lucien said. The car launched forward. They took the private road fast, headlights cutting through growing darkness. Behind them, the estate receded, all that glass and stone and blood. How long until she realizes we left? Lena asked. She already knows, Lucien said. She has eyes everywhere, but she won't move against us in transit. Too risky, too many variables. You sound very sure about that. I trained her. I know her patterns. They drove in silence for a while. Trees rushed past outside. The road curved and climbed. Lena kept her hand on the gun and tried not to think about the fact that she was holding a weapon, that she might have to use it. Her phone buzzed. She pulled it out, expecting another threat, another photo. Instead, your friend Sarah called your office looking for you, told them you'd been missing for days. They're worried. Lena's blood went cold. They have Sarah's number. Lucien took the phone, read the message. His jaw tightened. Valeria's trying to flush you out, make you contact your friends, give away your location. What if she hurts Sarah? She won't. No value in it. But he didn't sound completely certain. You don't know that. No, he admitted. I don't. Lena grabbed the phone back, started typing. What are you doing? Lucien asked. Texting Sarah, telling her I'm fine. That's exactly what Valeria wants you to do. I don't care. Sarah's my best friend. She's probably going crazy thinking I'm dead. She hit send before he could stop her. I'm okay. Just dealing with some stuff. Don't worry. I'll call soon. The response came immediately. Thank God. Where are you? I'm coming to get you. Lena typed back. Can't right now. I promise I'm safe. I'll explain everything soon. This isn't like you. Are you in trouble? No, just complicated. Trust me. Dots appeared. Disappeared, appeared again. Finally, okay, but if I don't hear from you in 48 hours, I'm calling the cops. Deal. Lena put the phone away, looked at Lucien. Happy? No, you just confirmed you're alive and using your phone. Now Valeria knows we're mobile. She already knew that. Knowing and confirming are different things. Before Lena could argue, the car swerved hard. She grabbed the door handle and Lucien braced himself against the seat. What? She started. Car behind us, the driver said. Black sedan. Been following since the gate. Marco turned in his seat, looked back. How many? 2 I can see. Maybe more. Lose them, Lucien said. The driver didn't answer, just pressed the accelerator. The SUV surged forward, engine roaring. Lena looked back, saw headlights gaining on them, getting closer. They're not trying to hide anymore, Marco said. No, Lucien agreed. They're not. The sedan pulled alongside them. Lena could see faces in the windows now. Men, hard faces. One of them raised something. Gun! Marco shouted. The driver jerked the wheel. The SUV swerved just as gunfire erupted. Bullets punched through the back window, showered them with glass. Lena screamed, ducked down, covered her head. Lucien returned fire through the broken window. 3 shots. 4. The sedan fell back. How far to the city? Lucien demanded. 20 minutes, the driver said. But they're going to call ahead. We'll be boxed in before we get there. Then we don't go to the city. Lucien pulled out his phone, made a call. It's me. I need the safe house in Red Hook. Now. Pause. I don't care if it's not ready. Make it ready. We'll be there in 30 minutes. He hung up, looked at the driver. You know where Red Hook is? Yeah. Get us there, fast. The sedan was back. This time, it rammed them from behind. The impact threw Lena forward against her seatbelt. Her ribs screamed. Hold on, the driver yelled. He took a turn at 70 miles an hour. The SUV tilted, tires screaming. For a second, Lena thought they'd flip. Then they were through it, racing down a side road. The sedan followed. They're not giving up, Marco said. He'd drawn his own gun now. Boss, we need to stop and fight. Not in the middle of nowhere, Lucien said. Too exposed. We keep moving. Another turn. This one onto a highway. Traffic was light, but there was enough to weave through. The driver did, cutting across lanes, using other cars as obstacles. The sedan kept pace. Then a second car appeared, white SUV, coming from the opposite direction, crossing the median, heading straight for them. Shit, the driver said. He swerved. The white SUV missed them by inches, overcorrected, hit the guardrail in a shower of sparks. But now they had cars on both sides. The black sedan behind. Another one pulling up beside them. We're boxed in, Marco said. Lucien looked at the cars, at the road ahead, made a decision. When I say, you brake hard. Understand? The driver nodded. Now. The SUV's brakes locked. Tires screamed. They went from 70 to 20 in seconds. The car behind them tried to brake too. Couldn't. Slammed into their rear bumper with a crunch of metal. But Lucien had already moved. He was out of the car before it fully stopped, gun raised. Fired into the sedan's windshield. Once. Twice. The sedan swerved, crashed into the median, stopped. Go! Lucien yelled, diving back into the SUV. The driver floored it. They left the crashed cars behind. Lena looked back, saw men climbing out of the wrecks, saw one raise a rifle. Duck! She screamed. Bullets chased them, punched through the rear window, the seats. One buried itself in the dashboard 2 inches from the driver's head. Then they were around a curve and the shooters were out of sight. Everyone okay? Lucien asked. Define okay, Lena said. Her voice was shaking. Her whole body was shaking. Alive counts. Then, yeah, I'm okay. Marco had blood on his face from flying glass. The driver's knuckles were white on the wheel, but they were alive. For now. They drove for another 20 minutes, took side roads, doubled back twice, made sure they weren't followed. Finally, the driver pulled into what looked like an abandoned industrial area. Warehouses and shipping containers. Everything rusted and forgotten. This is it? Lena asked. It's secure, Lucien said. That's all that matters. They parked between 2 containers. Got out. Marco swept the area while Lucien led Lena to what looked like a storage unit. He punched a code into a keypad hidden behind a loose panel. The door opened. Inside was nothing like the safe room at the estate. This was bare bones, concrete floor, metal walls, a card table with folding chairs, a hot plate, a mini fridge that hummed loudly. But there were weapons, lots of them, rifles mounted on the wall, handguns in a locked cabinet, ammunition boxes stacked in the corner. "Welcome to Red Hook," Lucy Cien said. Lena looked around. "This is where you hide when things go bad?" "This is where I regroup when things go worse than bad." Marco appeared in the doorway. "Perimeter's clear. I've got 2 men on the access roads. Anyone comes close, we'll know." "Good." Lucien moved to the weapons cabinet, started pulling out guns, checking them, loading them. "How many men do we have left?" 12 that I can confirm. Another 8 I haven't heard from. Could be dead, could be in hiding. So 20 at most. Against Valeria's entire network. Marco's face was grim. "Boss, we're outnumbered 10-1, maybe worse." "Then we don't fight her army. We cut off the head." "How?" "By using the one thing she won't expect." Lucien looked at Lena. "Her." Lena's stomach dropped. "What?" "Valeria thinks you're my weakness. She's coming after you to hurt me. So we use that." "Use it how?" "As bait." "Absolutely not," Marco said. "Do you have a better idea?" "Yeah, we get Miss Hartwell out of the country and you go to ground until we can rebuild." "There is no rebuilding, not with Valeria alive." Lucien set down the gun he'd been loading, looked at both of them. "She's been planning this for months, maybe years. Every warehouse she hit tonight, she knew exactly where to strike. Every man she killed, she knew who was loyal to me. This wasn't opportunistic. This was calculated." "You think she's been setting this up the whole time?" Marco asked. "I think she's been waiting for an excuse, and I gave her one." He turned to Lena. "You. So this is my fault?" The words came out sharper than she intended. "No, it's mine. I broke my own rules, got distracted. Let her see that I cared about something other than the business." He ran a hand through his hair. "But we can use it. Turn her strategy against her." "How?" Lena asked. "By making her think she's won, that she's isolated you from me, that you're vulnerable." He pulled out his phone, started typing. "I'm going to leak your location, let her think you ran, that we had a fight and you took off. And then what? She sends people to kill me and you show up to rescue me?" "Something like that." "That's insane. You have a better plan?" She didn't, that was the problem. Lena looked at Marco. "You think this will work?" "I think it's suicide," Marco said bluntly. "But the boss is right. We're out of options. Valeria's not going to stop, and running just delays the inevitable." "Comforting." "I'm not here to comfort you. I'm here to keep you alive." He looked at Lucien. "If we're doing this, we do it smart. Full surveillance on Miss Hartwell, sniper support, multiple extraction points." "Agreed." Lucien finished whatever he was typing, showed it to Marco. "This work?" Marco read it, nodded. "Should get her attention." "What did you write?" Lena asked. Lucien turned the phone so she could see. She left. Took money and ran. "I'm done protecting her. If you want her, she's yours." Lena's chest tightened. She'll believe that?" "She'll want to believe it. That's enough." He hit send. "Now we wait." They didn't have to wait long. 10 minutes later, Marco's phone buzzed. He answered, listened. His expression went dark. "When?" Pause. "How many?" Pause. "Understood." He hung up, looked at Lucien. "She took the bait. She's mobilizing teams, 3 of them, all heading to locations connected to Miss Hartwell." "Which locations?" "Her apartment, her office, her friend Sarah's place." Lena's blood went cold. "Sarah's place? Why would she—" "Because Valeria's thorough," Lucien said. "She's covering all the places you might run to." "I have to warn her. We already have people there." Marco was typing on his phone. "I'm pulling them back. They'll secure Sarah and move her somewhere safe." "You have people watching my friends?" "We have people watching anyone who might become a target. That's how this works." Marco finished typing. "Sarah will be protected. You have my word." Lena wanted to argue, wanted to scream, but what good would it do? This was the world she'd walked into, the world where your best friend needed armed protection because you slept with the wrong man. "So what now?" she asked. "Now we set the trap," Lucien said. He pulled up a map on his phone. There's an old hotel in Brooklyn, the Empress. Been closed for 3 years. I own it through a shell company, but Valeria knows about it. She'll think you'd go there because it's connected to me, but distant enough to feel safe. And you want me to actually go there. I want you to let her think you went there. We'll use a decoy at first, see how she responds, what kind of force she sends. And if she sends everything, then we know she wants this over as much as we do. He looked at Marco. How many men can we spare? 8 if we pull everyone from perimeter duty. Do it. I want sharpshooters on the buildings across from the Empress, full surveillance inside the hotel, and get me someone who looks enough like Lena to pass for her from a distance. On it. Marco stepped outside, already making calls. Lena sat down on one of the folding chairs. Her legs felt weak. This is really happening. Yeah. People are going to die. Yeah. Because of me. No. Lucian crouched in front of her, took her hands. Because of Valeria. Because she chose power over loyalty. You're just the excuse she needed. That doesn't make me feel better. It's not supposed to. It's just the truth. He squeezed her hands. You can still walk away. Right now. I can get you out of the city before Valeria knows you're gone. New identity, new life. You'd be safe. For how long? She found my father in minutes. She has people watching Sarah. How long before she finds me again? I don't know. At least he was honest. Lena looked at their joined hands. His were scarred, calloused, hands that had killed people, hands that had held her gently. I'm staying, she said. You're sure? No, but I'm doing it anyway. He smiled, actually smiled. You're going to survive this world, Lena Hartwell. Or die trying. Or that. Marco came back in. Decoys on the way. Should be here in 20 minutes. Surveillance team is mobilizing. We'll be set up at the Empress in 2 hours. Good. Lucien stood. What about Valeria's location? Still at her penthouse. She hasn't moved since this started. She's directing from home. Smart. Keeps her hands clean. For now, Marco said. But if this goes sideways, she'll have to get involved directly. That's what I'm counting on. They spent the next hour planning, routes, contingencies, extraction protocols. Lena listened, tried to follow, but half of it was in code or Italian. The part she understood made her stomach turn. This wasn't a rescue operation. It was an execution. The decoy arrived, a woman about Lena's height and build with similar dark hair. She looked terrified but determined. Thank you for doing this, Lena told her. Mr. Moretti pays well, the woman said. And my sister needs surgery, so money. It always came back to money. They dressed the decoy in clothes similar to what Lena had been wearing, gave her a bag, made her look like someone on the run. Remember, Marco told her, you don't have to act scared. You are scared. Just be yourself. Let them see you through the window. Then get to the safe room in the basement. Lock yourself in. We'll extract you when it's clear. The woman nodded, looked at Lena. You're braver than I am, staying with him knowing what's coming. Or stupider, Lena said. Maybe both. They moved the decoy in a different car, sent her to the Empress with 2 guards. Marco's surveillance team was already in position, snipers on the rooftops, watchers in the empty buildings nearby. Lena and Lucien stayed at Red Hook. Waited. The waiting was worse than the action. At least during the car chase, she'd had something to focus on. Now there was just silence and the hum of the refrigerator and her own spiraling thoughts. Tell me something, Lena said to break the quiet. Lucien looked up from the laptop he'd been studying, live feeds from the Empress surveillance. Like what? Why did you really help me that night? At the restaurant? He was quiet for a moment. You want the truth? Always. Because I was tired. He closed the laptop. Tired of the game. Tired of everyone wanting something from me. Tired of being alone in rooms full of people. He met her eyes. And then I saw you. Standing there in that dress like you were going to war. And I thought, here's someone who gets it, who understands what it's like to be alone even when you're not. That's sad. Yeah, it is. He smiled, but there was no humor in it. I told myself I'd just get you through the evening, make sure you didn't have to walk out of there humiliated. Then I'd never see you again. What changed? You did. You didn't treat me like Lucien Moretti, feared mob boss. You treated me like some asshole who bought you dinner. It was He paused. Honest. Real. I hadn't had that in a long time. So you decided to drag me into your world? I decided to be selfish. He stood, crossed to where she sat. I'm sorry for that. Don't be. Lena looked up at him. I walked in with my eyes open. Well, maybe half open, but still. You couldn't have known. Marco's phone rang. He answered, listened. His face went pale. When? Pause. How many casualties? Pause. Understood. He hung up, looked at Lucienne. It's not the Empress, Marco said. She didn't take the bait. Where then? Here. Red Hook. She's coming here, and she's bringing everyone. The words hung in the air for 3 seconds. Then chaos. How did she... Lucian started. The decoy's phone. She must have had it bugged. Heard us talking about Red Hook before we sent her out. Marco was already moving, checking weapons. We've got maybe 10 minutes before they arrive. How many? 30, maybe more. Lucien looked at Lena. His expression was completely calm, dead calm, the kind of calm that came before violence. Get her out, he told Marco. Back exit. Take the spare car. Drive until you hit the interstate, then call for extraction. What about you? Lena demanded. I'm staying, buying you time. Like hell you are. Lena, I said I'm staying. We both stay or we both go. This isn't a negotiation. You're right. It's not. She grabbed one of the guns from the table, the same one he'd given her in the car. You taught me how to use this, so let me use it. Boss, Marco said, we don't have time for this. Lucian stared at her. She stared back. Neither of them moved. Finally, he grabbed a rifle from the wall, tossed it to Marco. Fine, but you stay behind cover. You see an opening, you run. Understand? Understood. I mean it, Lena. So do I. He looked like he wanted to argue more. Then headlights appeared in the distance. Multiple vehicles, coming fast. Positions, Lucian said. They moved. Marco to the left side of the building, behind a stack of crates. Lucien to the right, using the door frame for cover. Lena crouched behind the card table. Not great cover, but better than nothing. The vehicle stopped about 50 yards out. Doors opened. People emerged. In the glow of the headlights, Lena counted 12. No, 15. All armed. And at the front, stepping into the light like she owned it, was Valeria De Luca. She wore all black. Her hair was down now, falling past her shoulders. In her hand was a pistol that looked almost casual, like an accessory. Lucienne, she called out. Her voice echoed in the empty space. I know you're in there. Come out. Let's talk. Nothing to talk about, Lucian called back. No? I think there's quite a lot to discuss, like how you broke the rules, put the family at risk, all for a woman you've known for 3 days. The rules are mine to break. They were your father's rules, and they kept us strong, kept us safe. Valeria took a step forward. But you've forgotten that. Forgotten what we are, what we do. I know exactly what we are. Do you? Because from where I'm standing, you look like a man who's let his cock make decisions his brain should be making. Lena's finger tightened on the trigger. She wanted to shoot Valeria just for the tone of her voice. Last chance, Valeria said. Send the girl out. Let us finish this. Then you and I can discuss how to move forward. And if I don't, then everyone in that building dies, including you. She raised her hand. Behind her, her people raised their weapons. Your choice, boss, but choose fast. Lucian looked at Lena. Their eyes met across the dark interior of the safe house. She saw the decision forming on his face. No, she said. Don't you dare. I'm sorry, he said. Then he stood up, stepped into the doorway, hands raised. Fine, he called to Valeria. You win. Take her. But you let my people go. Lucienne, Lena screamed. Deal, Valeria said. She smiled. Send her out. Marco, Lucienne said. Take her. Boss, that's an order. Marco grabbed Lena's arm. She fought him, but he was stronger, dragged her toward the back exit. Let me go, Lucienne. I'm sorry, Miss Hartwell, Marco said. And he actually sounded sorry. He pulled her through the back door, into the darkness. Behind them, Lena heard Valeria laugh. Then gunfire erupted, and the whole world went to... The gunfire was deafening. Marco dragged Lena into the darkness behind the safe house, her feet barely touching the ground as he hauled her away from the chaos erupting inside. She twisted against his grip, screaming Lucian's name until her throat burned raw. "Let me go! He's gonna die in there! He's giving you a chance to live. Don't waste it!" Marco shoved her toward a rusted shipping container. "Get behind there and stay down. I'm not leaving him." Marco spun on her, his face harder than she'd ever seen it. Blood ran from a cut above his eye. When had that happened? And his voice came out like gravel. "Miss Hartwell, if you go back in there, you die. And if you die, everything he just sacrificed means nothing. So get behind that fucking container before I knock you unconscious and carry you there myself." More gunfire, closer now. Lena heard shouting in Italian, heard someone scream. She looked at the safe house, saw muzzle flashes through the windows, saw shadows moving, fighting, dying. Marco grabbed her arm again. "Now!" This time she let him pull her behind the container. The metal was cold against her back, rust flaking off onto her hands. She could hear everything, every gunshot, every shout, every sound of violence, but couldn't see anything. "How many does he have with him?" Lena asked. Her voice shook. "In there?" "Just him." Marco was on his phone, typing rapidly. "The others are scattered. I'm calling them in, but..." An explosion rocked the night. The safe house's front wall blew outward in a ball of fire and debris. The shockwave knocked Lena to her knees. "No!" The word ripped out of her. Marco pulled her back up. He knew this was coming. He's not in there anymore. He stopped, stared at his phone. "Shit. What?" "He's leading them away, drawing them off." Marco showed her the screen. A text from Lucien. "Get her out. Don't come back for me." "Where is he?" "I don't know. He's not..." Marco's phone rang. He answered. "Talk to me." His expression changed. "When?" Pause. "How many?" Pause. "Fall back to position 2. We'll meet you there." He hung up. "Marco, Miss Hartwell, I need you to listen very carefully. Mr. Moretti is alive. He's mobile. He's got half of Valeria's forces chasing him through the container yard." Marco grabbed her shoulders. "But the other half is coming this way. We need to move. Now." "I'm not running." "You don't have a choice." "There's always a choice." Lena pulled away from him, started moving back toward the safe house. Marco caught her wrist. "What the hell are you doing?" "Something stupid." She met his eyes. "You said half of Valeria's people are chasing Lucien. That means she split her forces. That means she's vulnerable." So? "So where is she?" Understanding dawned on Marco's face. "No, absolutely not. You're not going after Valeria." "Why not? She's the head. Cut off the head, the body dies. Isn't that what Lucien said?" "He meant him cutting off the head, not you. Do you see him here?" Lena gestured at the burning safe house. "He's running for his life. Someone needs to end this, and Valeria won't expect it from me. Because it's suicide. Or it's the only play we have left." Lena pulled the gun from her waistband, the one Lucien had given her. "You can help me or get out of my way, but I'm doing this." Marco stared at her. She watched him calculate, weighing loyalty against logic, orders against opportunity. Finally, he swore in Italian, "You're as crazy as he is." "I'll take that as a compliment." "It's not." But he was already moving, pulling her deeper into the container yard. Last I saw, Valeria was staging from a black SUV about 200 yards west. She's got at least 4 guards with her, maybe more. "How do we get to her?" "We don't. I get you close enough to see her position. Then you run while I create a distraction." "That's not a plan. It's the only plan that doesn't get us both killed in the next 5 minutes." They moved through the darkness between containers. Lena's heart hammered against her ribs. Every shadow looked like an enemy. Every sound made her finger tighten on the trigger. Ahead, she could see lights, vehicles, the glow of phone screens. Marco held up a fist. She stopped. He pointed. Through a gap between containers, Lena could see 3 SUVs parked in a rough semicircle, men with rifles standing guard. And in the center, leaning against the hood of the middle vehicle, Valeria. She was on her phone, looked completely calm, like she was ordering takeout instead of orchestrating a massacre. "There," Marco whispered. "See her?" Lena nodded. Okay, I'm going to circle around, draw their attention. When they move, you... I know what to do. Do you? Marco looked at her. Really looked. Have you ever killed anyone, Miss Hartwell? No? It's not like the movies. It's loud. It's messy. And it stays with you. He paused. You sure you can do this? Lena thought about the restaurant, about Marcus's text, about Lucien stepping into her path and offering her an exit she didn't deserve, about him giving himself up so she could live. Yeah, she said, I'm sure. Then aim for center mass. 2 shots. Don't hesitate. Marco checked his gun. Give me 90 seconds, then move. He disappeared into the shadows. Lena crouched behind the container and watched Valeria, counted the guards. 4 visible. Maybe more in the vehicles. Her hands were shaking. She made them stop. 60 seconds. She thought about Sarah, about her apartment with its new locks and surveillance, about the life she'd had 3 days ago, boring, safe, predictable. That life was gone. That Lena was gone. 30 seconds. She checked her gun, made sure the safety was off, remembered what Lucien had taught her. Point at what you want to stop. Pull the trigger. Simple. Except nothing about this was simple. 15 seconds. Valeria laughed at something on her phone. The sound carried across the yard, cold, amused. This woman had tried to kill her, had killed Lucien's people, had turned his entire organization against him because she thought love was weakness. 5 seconds. Lena stood up, started moving toward the gap between containers. Then the world exploded. The blast came from the east side of the yard, orange fire climbing into the night sky. Marco's distraction. Valeria's guards reacted immediately. 3 of them ran toward the explosion. The 4th stayed with Valeria, rifle up, scanning for threats. Not enough. Not yet. Lena waited, counted her heartbeats. 1, 2, 3. The guard's radio crackled. He turned slightly to answer it. Now. Lena stepped out from behind the container, raised her gun, aimed at the guard's back. Her finger found the trigger. Don't hesitate, she fired. The recoil kicked harder than she expected. The gun jumped in her hands. The shot went wide, hit the SUV's door with a metallic bang. The guard spun around. Valeria looked up. Their eyes met across 30 feet of empty space. Well, Valeria said, this is unexpected. The guard raised his rifle. Lena dove behind a container as bullets tore through the air where she'd been standing. She hit the ground hard, felt the impact jar through her bones. Don't kill her, Valeria's voice. I want her alive. Footsteps. Running. Coming toward her position. Lena scrambled backward. Her gun. Where was her gun? She dropped it when she dove. There, 3 feet away, lying in the dirt. She lunged for it. A hand caught her ankle, yanked her backward. The guard loomed over her. He'd slung his rifle, was reaching for his sidearm. His face was cold. Professional. Lena kicked him in the knee, hard. He grunted, stumbled. She kicked again. This time caught him in the throat. He went down, choking. Lena grabbed her gun, stood, pointed it at his head. He looked up at her, eyes watering, hands at his throat. I'm sorry, she said. She pulled the trigger. The sound was impossibly loud. The guard's head snapped back. Blood sprayed across the dirt. Then he was still. Lena stood there, gun still raised, staring at what she'd done. The body. The blood. The absolute finality of it. She'd killed someone. Impressive, Valeria's voice. I didn't think you had it in you. Lena spun around. Valeria stood 10 feet away. She'd drawn her own gun but hadn't raised it yet, just held it loosely at her side like she had all the time in the world. Where's Lucien? Lena demanded. Alive. For now, though I imagine that won't last much longer. Valeria tilted her head. You really care about him, don't you? Yes. Why? You barely know him. I know enough. You know the version he showed you, the charming rescuer, the wounded soul. Valeria laughed. You don't know the man who's built this empire on bodies and blood, the man who's killed more people than you've met, the man who... I know he's worth saving, worth dying for. Valeria raised her gun now, pointed it at Lena's chest. Because that's what's about to happen. Lena raised her own gun. Her hands didn't shake. Then we both die. You think you're fast enough? I think you're not wearing body armor. Valeria glanced down. She was right. The black outfit was sleek, form-fitting. Nowhere to hide plates. Smart, Valeria said. Lucien trained you well. He didn't train me to do this. I'm just learning as I go. Then let me teach you something. Valeria's finger tightened on the trigger. In this world, hesitation kills. And you, Miss Hartwell, are about to hesitate. She was right. Lena felt it, the moment of doubt, the human reluctance to take a life. It lasted maybe half a second too long. Valeria fired. Pain exploded in Lena's left shoulder. The impact spun her around and she hit the ground hard. Her gun skittered away across the dirt. She couldn't breathe, couldn't think, just pain, white hot and spreading. Footsteps approached. Valeria stood over her. That's the difference between us. I don't hesitate. She raised her gun, aimed at Lena's head. Goodbye, miss. The shot came from nowhere. Valeria jerked, looked down at her chest, at the growing red stain spreading across her black shirt. She turned. Lucien stood 20 feet away, rifle raised. His face was covered in blood and dirt, and his shirt was torn, but his hands were steady. Get away from her, he said. Valeria laughed. Blood bubbled at her lips. You're too late. I already won. You're bleeding out. That's not winning, isn't it? She gestured at the chaos around them, the burning buildings, the bodies. I destroyed everything you built, turned your empire to ash, and all because you fell in love with a girl you met in a restaurant. I'd do it again. I know. That's why you're weak. Valeria coughed, more blood. Your father would be ashamed. My father was a bastard who died alone. I'd rather die loved than live like he did. Valeria's legs gave out. She sat down hard, back against a container. Her gun fell from her hand. She looked at Lucien with something that might have been pity. You're going to get her killed, she said. Maybe not today. Maybe not tomorrow. But eventually your world will devour her, just like it devoured everyone else you've ever cared about. Maybe. Lucien lowered his rifle, crossed to where Lena lay, knelt beside her. But that's her choice to make. Foolish, Valeria whispered. Probably. He turned his back on her, focused entirely on Lena. His hands found the wound in her shoulder, pressed down. The pressure sent new waves of pain through her. I've got you, he said. You're okay. You're going to be okay. Valeria is dying. Don't worry about her. Lena looked past him. Valeria was slumped against the container now, her eyes distant. Blood pooled beneath her. She's right, Lena managed. Your world is going to kill me. Then we'll change my world. You can't just watch me. He lifted her carefully. She screamed as the movement pulled her shoulder. I'm sorry. Almost done. Marco appeared, breathing hard. He'd lost his jacket and his arm was bleeding, but he was alive. Vehicle's ready, he said. Then he saw Valeria. Is she dying? Lucien said. Get everyone out, now. This place is going to be crawling with cops in 10 minutes. What about her? Marco nodded at Valeria. Leave her. Boss, I said leave her. Marco nodded, started barking orders into his radio. Lucien carried Lena toward an SUV. She tried to stay conscious, tried to focus, but the pain kept pulling her under. Everything went gray at the edges. Stay with me, Lucien said. Lena, look at me. Stay with me. I killed someone, she whispered. I know. Does it get easier? No. But you learn to live with it. He set her in the back seat, climbed in beside her. Marco got behind the wheel and the SUV lurched forward. Behind them, Valeria watched them go. Her phone was in her hand. She'd managed to dial a number. It's done, she said into it. Her voice was weak, fading. He chose her, just like you said he would. And the girl? A man's voice. Older, unfamiliar. Stronger than expected. She might actually survive him. Good. We can use that. What about... Valeria coughed. Couldn't finish. You did well, Valeria. Your family will be taken care of. As promised. Thank you, sir. The line went dead. Valeria set the phone down. Looked at the burning container yard. At the empire she'd helped build and then torn down. Worth it, she whispered. Then she closed her eyes and didn't open them again. The drive was a blur of pain and sirens. Lena drifted in and out. Sometimes she was in the SUV with Lucien's hands pressing against her shoulder. Sometimes she was back at the restaurant reading Marcus's text. Sometimes she was nowhere at all. Losing too much blood. Get her to the doc. Won't make it if we... Voices. Urgent. Scared. She tried to open her eyes, managed it for a second. Saw Lucien's face above her. Saw fear in his eyes. "Don't you dare," he was saying. "Don't you dare leave me. Not after all this." "Tired," she managed. "I know, but you can't sleep yet. Not yet." "Why not?" "Because I need you to stay alive long enough for me to tell you I'm sorry. For all of this. For dragging you into my world. For—" "Shut up," Lena said. "I chose this. Chose you. That doesn't make it right. Doesn't make it wrong either." The SUV stopped. Doors opened. Hands reached in, pulled her out. She screamed as they jostled her shoulder. Then a new voice. Calm. Professional. "Gunshot wound. Left shoulder. Entry and exit. Clean pass-through. She's lucky." "Lucky?" Lucien repeated, like he didn't believe it. "Compared to some of the things I've seen tonight?" "Yeah, lucky." The voice belonged to a woman, dark-skinned, wearing scrubs. "Get her inside. I've got a surgical suite set up." They carried Lena into a building. Not a hospital. Too quiet. Too small. Someone's house, converted. The woman, doctor, leaned over her. "I'm Dr. Chen. I'm going to fix you up. But I need to put you under first. Count backward from 10 for me." "10," Lena said. "9, 8. Darkness took her. When she woke up, the pain was different, duller, managed. She was in a bed, clean sheets, soft pillows, sunlight streaming through a window. For a moment, she thought she'd dreamed the whole thing. The gunfight. Valeria. The blood. Then she tried to move her left arm, and the pain flared, and she knew it was real. "Easy," Lucien's voice. He was sitting in a chair beside the bed, looking like he hadn't slept in days. "Don't move too fast?" "How long?" 16 hours. Dr. Chen had to repair some muscle tissue, but you're going to be fine. Full recovery in 6 to 8 weeks. Lena looked at her shoulder. It was wrapped in clean white bandages. An IV ran from her right arm to a bag of clear fluid. "Where are we?" "Safe house. Different one. Marco's standing guard. We've got people on all the access points." He leaned forward, took her hand. "We're safe. For now." "And Valeria?" "Dead. Bled out at the container yard before anyone could get to her." Lena should have felt relief. Vindication. Something. Instead, she just felt tired. "I killed someone," she said. "I know." His name, did he have a name? Antonio Russo worked for Valeria for 3 years. Had a girlfriend in Queens. Lucien's voice was flat. Factual. "You want me to keep going?" "No." She closed her eyes. "I just wanted to know he was real. That he wasn't just a target. I know." Lucien squeezed her hand. "That's the difference between you and people like Valeria. You see them as people. She saw them as assets. Which one survives longer? Valeria's dead and you're alive. What do you think?" Lena opened her eyes, looked at him. "Why did you give yourself up? At Red Hook, you were going to let them take me to save me. Because losing you was better than watching you die. That's not logical." "No, it's not." He smiled, tired, real. "Love isn't logical." The word hung in the air between them. "You love me?" Lena asked. "Yeah, turns out I do." He said it like it surprised him. Inconvenient, but there it is. "How long have you—" "Since you hit that bag 47 times and then cried like your heart was breaking. Since you stood up to your father instead of giving him money. Since you decided to stay when any sane person would have run." He traced his thumb across her knuckles. "Maybe longer. Hard to say." Lena's chest felt tight. Not from pain, from something else. "I love you too," she said, in case that wasn't obvious. It wasn't. "You're hard to read." "I shot at Valeria." "You missed." "I tried." Points for effort. He leaned in, kissed her forehead. You're insane, you know that, right? I learned from the best. The door opened. Marco stepped in, looking cleaner but no less tired than Lucien. Boss, we've got a problem. Lucien didn't look away from Lena. What kind? The kind where 6 of Valeria's former lieutenants are asking for a sit-down. They want to discuss succession. Succession to what? Your organization. They're claiming you abandoned your position, that you're unfit to lead. Now Lucien looked at Marco. Based on what? Based on the fact that you chose a woman over the family. Their words, not mine. Tell them to go to hell. I did. They're still asking for the meeting. Marco hesitated. Boss, we're weak right now. Lost a lot of people in the last 72 hours. If they decide to push, then we push back. With what army? We've got maybe 15 people left who are confirmed loyal. They've got 6 times that, maybe more. Lucien stood, started pacing. Lena watched him think, watched the calculation happen behind his eyes. Set the meeting, he said finally. Tomorrow. Neutral ground. I'll hear what they have to say. And then? And then I'll remind them why I'm in charge. Marco nodded. Left. Lucien turned back to Lena. You should rest. What are you going to do? What I always do. Whatever it takes to survive. That's not an answer. It's the only one I have right now. He sat back down, took her hand again. But I promise you this. I'm not giving up. Not on this. Not on us. Even if it costs you everything? Especially then. She wanted to argue, wanted to tell him it wasn't worth it. But looking at his face, at the determination and the fear and the hope all mixed together, she couldn't. Okay, she said. We fight. We fight. The next day came too fast. Dr. Chen checked Lena's shoulder, changed the bandages, cleared her to move around. Carefully, she warned. You tear those stitches, I'm not fixing them again. Understood. Lucien had spent the morning on the phone, making calls, reaching out to people, building something from the wreckage. How many confirmed? Lena heard him ask Marco. 8. Maybe 10 if the others stop being cowards. That's not enough. It's what we have. The meeting was set for 4 p.m. at a restaurant in Chinatown. Neutral ground, Marco had said. Public enough that no one would try anything stupid. Probably. I'm coming with you, Lena said. No, you're not. Yes, I am. You can barely move your left arm. I can move my right arm fine, and I can pull a trigger with that. Lucien looked at her. This isn't a negotiation. You're right, it's not. I'm coming. She stood, ignoring the pull in her shoulder. You said we fight, plural. That means I'm there. Lena, they think you're weak because you chose me. So show them that choosing me made you stronger. Show them that I'm not a liability. I'm an asset. You're not an asset. You're... What? A distraction? A weakness? She crossed to him. Prove them wrong. Let me stand beside you. Let them see that you didn't choose me over the family. You chose to build something better. He stared at her. She watched the war happen on his face. Logic versus instinct. Protection versus partnership. If anything happens, he started, then we handle it. Together. Finally, he nodded. Okay, but you stay behind me, and if shooting starts, I know, duck and cover. I was going to say shoot back, but sure, that works too. Marco appeared with body armor, lightweight, designed to fit under clothes. He helped Lena into it, working carefully around her injured shoulder. This is a terrible idea, he said. Noted. If you get killed, the boss is going to blame me. Then make sure I don't get killed. Marco actually smiled. I like you, Miss Hartwell. You're either very brave or very stupid. Can it be both? With you? Probably. The ride to Chinatown took 40 minutes through afternoon traffic. Lena sat in the back with Lucien, watching the city pass by. Normal people living normal lives. Going to work. Meeting friends. Complaining about parking. She'd been one of them 4 days ago. Now she was wearing body armor and carrying a gun and heading into a meeting that might end with everyone dead. Second thoughts? Lucien asked. About 100. You? Lost count after 1,000. The restaurant was called the Golden Dragon. Red and gold paint, paper lanterns in the windows. It looked touristy, Safe. But Lena could see the men standing outside, could see the way they scanned every car that passed, could see the bulges under their jackets. How many? She asked. 12 visible, probably twice that inside. Lucien checked his gun. Remember, let me do the talking. You're there to look dangerous and committed. That's it. I can do dangerous and committed. I know you can. That's why I'm bringing you. They got out of the SUV. Marco and 3 other men formed a loose perimeter around them, walked into the restaurant. Inside was empty except for 6 men sitting at a round table in the center. They all turned when Lucien entered. Moretti, one of them said. He was older, maybe 60, with gray hair and a scar running from his eye to his jaw. You actually came. You asked for a meeting, Sal. Here I am. Lucien gestured at Lena. And I brought a friend. Sal's eyes flicked to Lena, dismissed her. The girl. Heard about her, heard you burned half your organization for her. I didn't burn anything, Valeria did, because you broke the rules. The rules were my father's, not mine. Lucien pulled out a chair, sat down. Lena stood behind him, hand resting on the gun at her hip. So let's talk about what you really want. Succession. You think I'm weak. You think this is your chance to take over. Can you blame us? Another man spoke up, younger, maybe 40. You disappeared for 3 days. Let Valeria run wild, lost half our operations. And for what? A woman you met in a restaurant? For a woman who killed one of Valeria's best men and put a bullet in Valeria herself, Lucien said. For a woman who's more loyal than half the people sitting at this table. Silence. You expect us to follow you because your girlfriend can shoot? Sal asked. That's not leadership. No, you'll follow me because I'm the only one who can hold this organization together. Because the second you start fighting over who's in charge, we all die. The Irish, the Russians, the Feds. They're all waiting for us to tear ourselves apart so they can pick up the pieces. Lucien leaned forward. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to pledge loyalty. All of you, right now, or you're going to walk out that door and never come back. And if we choose option 3, the younger man asked, take you out, right here, divide your territory among ourselves? Then Miss Hartwell puts a bullet in your head before you finish reaching for your gun, and Marco puts bullets in everyone else, and we all die in a Chinese restaurant while tourists take pictures outside. Lucien smiled. But sure, try it if you want. Lena's heart was hammering. Her hand tightened on her gun. She could see the calculation happening. 6 men at the table, probably another dozen in the back. Even with Marco and his team, they were outnumbered. This could go sideways in seconds. Sal studied Lucien, then he started laughing. You arrogant son of a bitch, he said, but he was smiling. You really think we're just going to... I think you're going to be smart. Because the alternative is we all lose, every single one of us. Lucien stood. I'm offering you a chance to rebuild, under my leadership, with fair cuts and fair treatment, same as it's always been. Or you can gamble that you'll survive the war that comes after you kill me. Your choice. The silence stretched out. Finally, Sal stood, extended his hand. Okay, he said. You want to lead? Lead. But the first time you screw us over for your girl, you'll kill me yourself, I know. Lucien shook his hand. Fair enough. One by one, the other men stood, shook hands, made their peace. When it was done, Sal looked at Lena. You really shoot Valeria? I tried. Lucien finished the job. But you tried? Yeah. Huh. Sal nodded. Maybe he's not so crazy after all. They left the restaurant 30 minutes later with pledges of loyalty and promises of rebuilding. It wasn't perfect, wasn't complete, but it was a start. In the car, Lena finally let herself breathe. Did that really just work? She asked. For now, Lucien said. Tomorrow they might change their minds. But we bought ourselves time. How much time? Enough. He pulled her close, carefully, mindful of her shoulder. Enough to figure out what comes next. And what does come next? Honestly, I have no idea. For some reason, that made her laugh. Great, we're making this up as we go. We've been making it up from the beginning. True. They drove back to the safe house. Dr. Chen checked Lena's shoulder again, stitches intact, no infection. Marco reported that the lieutenants were spreading word of the meeting, consolidating support. Slow progress, but progress. That night, Lena and Lucian sat on the safe house's small balcony. The city sprawled below them, lights glittering in the darkness. "I've been thinking," Lucian said, "about what Valeria said, about my world devouring you. She was dying. People say a lot of things when they're dying. Doesn't make it less true." He turned to look at her. "I can't change what I am, what I do, but maybe I can change how I do it. Build something different, something that doesn't require blood every time someone disagrees." That sounds naive. Probably. But I'm tired of being what my father was. Tired of ruling through fear. He took her hand. "You make me want to be better. That's worth fighting for. Even if it's impossible? Especially then." Lena leaned against him, felt his warmth, his strength, the steady beat of his heart. "Okay," she said. "Let's try impossible." Together? Together. They sat there as the city breathed below them. Somewhere out there, enemies were planning, rivals were maneuvering, the world kept turning, but right now, in this moment, they were safe. And that was enough. Until Marco appeared in the doorway, his face pale. "Boss," he said, "we've got a problem. A big one." Lucian stood. "What now?" "Someone just took Sarah, Lena's friend, grabbed her off the street 20 minutes ago." Lena's blood turned to ice. "What?" "There's more." Marco held out his phone. "They sent a message." Lucian took it, read it. His expression went absolutely murderous. "What does it say?" Lena demanded. He showed her the screen. "We have your friend. You want her back? Come alone to the address below. You have 2 hours. If Lucian comes with you, she dies. If you bring backup, she dies. If you're late, she dies. Your choice." Below was an address. A warehouse in Brooklyn. "It's a trap," Marco said. "Obviously." "I don't care," Lena said. "That's Sarah. I have to—" "You can't," Lucian cut her off. "This is exactly what they want. They're using her to draw you out. So what am I supposed to do? Let her die?" "No, we—" He stopped, looked at the message again. "Who sent this?" "Valeria's dead. Her lieutenants just pledged loyalty. Who's left that would—" His phone rang. Unknown number. He answered it, put it on speaker. "Mr. Moretti," a man's voice said. Older, cultured. "We finally meet, virtually at least." "Who is this?" "Someone who's been watching you for a long time. Someone who helped engineer your little war with Valeria. Someone who's very interested in Miss Hartwell." Lucien's hand tightened on the phone. "What do you want?" "I want to see if she's as strong as I think she is. If she's willing to sacrifice herself for a friend. If she's truly worth all this trouble you've gone to." The voice paused. 2 hours, Miss Hartwell. The clock is ticking. Choose wisely." The line went dead. Lena looked at Lucian, saw the fear in his eyes, the rage. "I have to go," she said. "It's suicide. It's Sarah." "Lena, if it was Marco, would you go?" He didn't answer. Didn't need to. They both knew he would. "Then help me," Lena said. "Help me save her, please." Lucian stared at her, then at the phone, then at Marco. "How long to get a team in position around that warehouse?" he asked. 30 minutes if we move now." "Do it. Full tactical. Snipers, surveillance. I want eyes on every entrance." "And when they see us?" "They won't." Lucian looked at Lena. "Because we're not going to use my people. We're going to use someone they won't expect." "Who?" Lena asked. His smile was sharp, dangerous. "Your ex-boyfriend's firm has a security division. Private contractors. Ex-military. And they owe me a favor." He was already dialing. "Let's see if Marcus is willing to help save the woman he threw away." The next 90 minutes were a blur of preparation. Phone calls, planning, gearing up. Marcus, terrified and apologetic, agreed to provide his company's tactical team. 12 men, well-trained, expendable if things went wrong. "I'm sorry," he kept saying on the phone. "Lena, I'm so sorry. For everything. For the text, for—" "Save it," Lena cut him off. "Just get your people to that warehouse. And Marcus?" "Yeah?" "If Sarah dies because you screw this up, Lucien will kill you. And I'll help. She hung up. Dr. Chen rewrapped her shoulder. Tighter this time. Added a local anesthetic to numb the pain. This is going to tear, she warned. You go in there, start fighting, those stitches won't hold. Then you'll stitch me up again after. If there is an after. There will be. Marco gave her a fresh gun, showed her how to hide a knife in her boot. When they grab you, and they will grab you, go limp. Make them think you're compliant, terrified. Then when they drop their guard, I know, strike fast, strike hard. Exactly. He paused. For what it's worth, you've got more balls than half the men I've worked with. Is that a compliment? From me? Yeah. Lucien was quiet while she geared up. Just watched, his face unreadable. Say it, Lena said. Say what? Whatever you're thinking, that this is stupid, that I'm going to die, that you can't lose me. Say it so we can move past it. I can't lose you. You won't. You don't know that. No. But I'm going anyway. She crossed to him, took his face in her hands. This is who I am now. Someone who fights, someone who doesn't leave people behind. You helped make me this. So trust it. I do trust you. It's them I don't trust. Then make sure your people are in position. Make sure Marcus doesn't fuck this up. And be ready to come get me when it's done. She kissed him. Hard. Like it might be the last time. Then she stepped back. Let's go save my friend. The warehouse was exactly what she expected. Old, abandoned, windows broken, graffiti on the walls, and surrounded by Marcus's tactical team. Lena couldn't see them, but Lucien had confirmed they were in position. 12 men with sniper rifles, and the warehouse was exactly what she expected. Old, abandoned, windows broken, graffiti on the walls, and surrounded by Marcus's tactical team. Lena couldn't see them, but Lucien had confirmed they were in position. 12 men with sniper rifles and thermal scopes, watching every angle. Not that it made her feel any safer. Marco pulled the car to a stop 2 blocks away. This is as close as we go without being seen. Lena checked her gun one last time. Made sure the knife was secure in her boot. Touched the small earpiece Marco had given her, barely visible, pressed deep into her ear canal. Can you hear me? Lucian's voice came through, crystal clear. Yeah. We're watching. The second things go wrong, I know, you come in. She looked at Marco. Take care of him if I don't make it back. You'll make it back. But if I don't, Marco's jaw tightened. I will. You have my word. Lena got out of the car, started walking. The 2 blocks felt like 2 miles. Every step brought her closer to whatever was waiting inside that warehouse. Every breath reminded her of the stitches pulling in her shoulder, the body armor pressing against her ribs, the weight of the gun at her hip. She thought about Sarah, about coffee dates and late-night phone calls, and someone who'd been there through every breakup, every failure, every moment Lena had needed a friend. Sarah didn't deserve this. Didn't deserve to be dragged into Lucien's world because Lena had been stupid enough to fall in love with a mob boss. But here they were. The warehouse entrance was a rusted metal door, hanging half off its hinges. Lena pushed it open. The hinges screamed. Inside was darkness and the smell of decay. Water damage, mold, years of abandonment. Hello? Her voice echoed. No answer. She moved deeper into the building, pulled out her phone, turned on the flashlight. The beam cut through the darkness, illuminated concrete pillars and scattered debris and a light. At the far end of the warehouse. Not bright, just enough to see. Lena walked toward it. The light came from a camping lantern sitting on an overturned crate and tied to a chair beside it. Sarah! Her friend's head jerked up. She was gagged, hands zip-tied behind her back. Her eyes went wide when she saw Lena. Started shaking her head frantically. It's a trap, those eyes said. Run! Lena knew it was a trap. Came anyway. She ran to Sarah, started working on the gag. Don't move! A man's voice behind her. Lena froze. Turn around, slowly. Hands where I can see them. She turned. 5 men, all armed, all pointing guns at her, and in the center, stepping into the light. Her father. Lena's brain stuttered, stopped, refused to process what she was seeing. Dad? David Hartwell smiled. The same smile he'd used when he wanted something. When he was lying. Hello, baby girl. What are you doing here? Finishing what I started? He gestured at the men. These gentlemen work for someone very interested in you and in Lucien Moretti. You set this up. The words came out flat, disbelieving. The visit to the estate, the photo, all of it. Guilty. He didn't even have the grace to look ashamed. 70,000 in debt, remember? These people offered to clear it if I helped them get to you. Seemed like a fair trade. You sold me out, your own daughter. I gave you an opportunity to make yourself useful for once in your life. His smile disappeared. You always were ungrateful, just like your mother. I give, and what do I get? Nothing. So when these men approached me, told me what they were willing to pay, well, business is business. Lena stared at him. This man who'd walked her down the aisle at her cousin's wedding, who'd taught her to ride a bike, who'd left her mother for his secretary and hadn't looked back. Who are you working for? She asked. Someone who's been planning this for a very long time. A new voice. From the shadows. A man stepped into the light. Late 60s, maybe. Silver hair, expensive suit. He moved with the careful precision of someone who'd survived a lot of years in a dangerous business. Miss Hartwell, he said, I'm Vincent Casta. I don't expect you to know the name. I've worked very hard to keep it out of the papers. You're the one who called, who set this whole thing up. Guilty, he smiled. I'm also the man who recruited Valeria 8 years ago, who helped her rise through Lucien's organization, who funded her attempt to take over. Why? Because Lucien Moretti's father killed my son, said simply, matter of fact. 20 years ago. A dispute over territory. My boy was 19, stupid, hot-headed. He made a mistake, and Moretti Sr. had him executed in the street like a dog. That's not Lucien? Lien's fault. No, but he's his father's legacy, his empire, his power. Vincent's eyes went cold, so I decided to destroy it, piece by piece, starting with Valeria. She was supposed to kill him in the chaos, take over his organization, and run it into the ground. But she failed. Because of you. Vincent stepped closer. You distracted him, made him weak. And then you killed Valeria yourself. Impressive, by the way. I didn't think you had it in you. Neither did I. Which brings us to now, to this moment. He gestured at Sarah. Your friend's life in exchange for information. Tell me where Lucien is. Tell me where he's hiding, and I'll let her go. Lena looked at Sarah, saw the terror in her eyes, the tears streaming down her face. Then she looked at her father, saw nothing, just greed and self-preservation, and the hollow shell of a man who'd traded his daughter for gambling debts. No, Lena said. Vincent raised an eyebrow. No, I'm not telling you anything. Then your friend dies. He nodded at one of the men. The man raised his gun, pointed it at Sarah's head. Sarah's scream was muffled by the gag. Wait, Lena's heart hammered. Wait, just give me a second to think. You have 5 seconds, then I put a bullet in her brain. Vincent checked his watch. 5, 4. Lena's mind raced. Lucien was listening. He'd heard everything. He'd be mobilizing now, sending Marcus's team in, but they'd never make it in time. Sarah would be dead before they breached the building. 3, 2. Lucien's at the safe house in Red Hook, Lena blurted out. The one that burned. He's rebuilding it, using it as his base. Vincent smiled. See? That wasn't so hard. He nodded at the gunman. Let her go. The man lowered his gun. Sarah sagged in the chair, sobbing. Lena, her father said, come here. We're leaving. What? You're coming with us. Insurance. To make sure Lucien doesn't do anything stupid when we kill him. I'm not going anywhere with you. You don't have a choice. David grabbed her arm. You're my daughter, my responsibility, and I'm taking you. Lena drove her elbow into his throat. Her father made a choking sound, staggered back. She followed up with a knee to his stomach. He went down hard. The gunmen reacted, raised their weapons. Don't move, Vincent commanded. I want her alive. Lena dove behind a concrete pillar as bullets chewed into the space where she'd been standing. She pulled her gun, returned fire. 1 shot, 2. Didn't hit anything, but it made them duck. Lucien, she screamed into the earpiece. Now would be good. 30 seconds, his voice, strained. Hold on. 30 seconds was a lifetime. More gunfire. The pillar absorbed it, chunks of concrete exploding, raining dust and debris. Lena pressed herself flat, tried to make herself small. Sarah was screaming, still tied to the chair, still vulnerable. Lena looked around the pillar, saw one gunman moving to flank her, saw another advancing on Sarah. She made a choice, broke cover, ran for Sarah. Bullets chased her. One hit her body armor, the impact like getting punched by God. Her breath left her lungs. She stumbled but didn't stop. Reached Sarah, started sawing at the zip ties with the knife from her boot. "Got you," she gasped. "I got you. You're okay." The ties snapped. Sarah's hands came free. Then something hit Lena from behind, hard. She went down, the knife skittering away across concrete. Hands grabbed her, flipped her over. Vincent stood over her. He'd drawn his own gun now, pointed it at her face. "Brave," he said. "Stupid, but brave. Story of my life. Any last words?" "Yeah. Duck." Vincent's expression changed, started to turn. The warehouse's remaining windows exploded inward, glass and wood and the sharp crack of sniper rifles. Two of Vincent's men went down, clean headshots. Then the doors blew open and Marcus's tactical team poured in, 12 men in full gear moving with military precision. The remaining gunmen opened fire. The warehouse became a war zone. Lena rolled away from Vincent, grabbed Sarah, pulled her behind cover, pressed her friend flat against the ground. "Stay down!" she yelled over the gunfire. "Don't move!" Sarah nodded, too terrified to speak. Lena looked up, saw Vincent running for the back exit, saw her father crawling toward the same door, bleeding from where she'd hit him. She grabbed her gun, started after them. "Lena, don't!" Lucian's voice in her ear. "Let them go, we've got—" She pulled out the earpiece, dropped it. This wasn't about strategy, wasn't about safety. This was about ending it. She chased her father and Vincent through the back corridors of the warehouse, heard them ahead of her, their footsteps echoing. Her shoulder screamed with every step. She could feel the stitches tearing, feel blood soaking through her shirt. Didn't matter. They burst through a door into the loading dock. Open air, night sky. A black car was waiting. Vincent ran for it. Lena raised her gun. "Stop!" He didn't. She fired. The shot went wide, hit the car's window. Safety glass spiderwebbed but didn't break. Vincent dove into the car. It peeled out, tires screaming. Lena spun around. Her father was still there, slumped against the loading dock wall. Blood on his shirt from where she'd kneed him. He looked old, weak, pathetic. "Please," he wheezed. "Lena, I'm sorry, I didn't— They forced me." "Shut up." She walked closer, gun raised. "You sold me out, sold Sarah, for money. I was desperate. They were going to kill me. So you let them kill us instead. I didn't think—" "No, you never do." She stood over him. "You left Mom. You abandoned me. And when you finally came back, it was to use me, to sell me to the highest bidder. I'm your father." "You're nothing." The words came out cold, final. "You're a coward who hides behind family when it's convenient and throws them away when it's not." David stared up at her, saw the gun, saw her finger on the trigger. "You're not going to shoot me," he said. "You're not a killer." "I've already killed once. What's one more?" She watched his face change, watched him realize she meant it. "Lena, please, I'm sorry, I'll change, I'll—" "No, you won't." She lowered the gun slightly. "But I'm not going to kill you, because that would make me like you. Someone who throws away family when they're inconvenient." Relief flooded his face. "Instead, I'm going to let Lucien decide what to do with you. And trust me, that's so much worse." The relief turned to terror. Footsteps behind her. Lena turned. Lucien appeared, gun drawn, Marco right behind him. Both of them looked like they'd run the whole way. "Lena." Lucien's eyes swept over her, saw the blood, the way she was holding her shoulder. "You're hurt." "I'm fine." "You're bleeding." "I said I'm fine." She looked at her father. "He's yours. Do whatever you want with him." Lucien studied David for a long moment. Then he holstered his gun. "Marco, get him out of my sight. Drop him at the bus station with $50 and a warning. If he ever contacts Lena again, if he ever comes back to this city, if he ever so much as thinks about her, kill him." "With pleasure." Marco grabbed David by the collar, hauled him up. "Lena." Her father tried to reach for her. "Lena, please." She turned away, didn't look back. Marco dragged him off. Lena stood there on the loading dock, gun still in her hand, and felt nothing. No anger, no sadness, just empty. Sarah? She asked. Safe. Marcus's team got her out. She's shaken but unhurt. Lucian moved closer. Vincent got away. I know, I tried. You did what you could. He gently took the gun from her hand. It's over now. Is it? Lena looked at him. Vincent's still out there. He'll come back. He'll try again. Maybe, but not tonight. Lucian touched her shoulder. His hand came away bloody. Right now, we need to get you to Dr. Chen before you bleed out. I'm not... Lena's legs wobbled. The adrenaline was wearing off, leaving nothing but pain and exhaustion. Okay, maybe I am. He caught her before she fell, lifted her carefully. I can walk, she protested. Shut up and let me carry you. Bossy, you love it. Despite everything, despite the blood and the pain and the fact that her father had just tried to get her killed, Lena smiled. Yeah, she said. I really do. Dr. Chen was not happy. I told you those stitches wouldn't hold, she said, cutting away the blood-soaked bandages. You tore half of them. This is going to need surgical repair. Again. Sorry, Lena managed. No, you're not. But Dr. Chen's hands were gentle as she worked. Hold still. This is going to hurt. It did. A lot. But Lena had gotten good at biting down on pain, at pushing through it. 20 minutes later, she had fresh stitches and a stern lecture about not being an idiot. Lucien stood nearby the whole time, watching, not saying anything, just there. When Dr. Chen finally left, Lena looked at him. You can say it, she said. Say what? That I was reckless. That I should have waited for backup. That I almost got killed. You were reckless. You should have waited. You almost got killed. He sat down beside her on the medical cot. But you also saved Sarah, took down 3 of Vincent's men, and survived your father's betrayal without falling apart. He paused. So yeah, you were reckless. You were also incredible. Lena's chest tightened. My father sold me out. I know. For $70,000. That's what I'm worth to him. $70,000 and a clean slate. He's an idiot. He's my father. That doesn't make him less of an idiot. Lucien took her hand. You're worth everything, Lena. Everything. And anyone who can't see that isn't worth your time. She wanted to believe him, wanted to let go of the hurt and the betrayal and the hollow feeling in her chest. But it was hard. So hard. What happens now? She asked. Vincent's still out there. He'll regroup. Come back. Maybe. But I've got people looking for him. And when we find him... Lucian's expression went cold. I'll make sure he never threatens anyone I care about again. You mean you'll kill him? Yes. No hesitation, no euphemism, just the truth. Lena should have been horrified, should have told him there had to be another way. Instead, she just nodded. Okay. Okay? He tried to kill Sarah. He tried to kill me. He used my father like a puppet. She met Lucien's eyes. So yeah, okay. Do what you have to do. You're sure? I'm sure. He studied her face, looking for doubt, maybe, hesitation. He wouldn't find it. Whatever line Lena had been walking between her old life and this new one, she'd crossed it, fully, finally. There was no going back. Come here, Lucian said. She did. Let him pull her close, careful of her shoulder, careful of her injuries. We're going to survive this, he said into her hair. All of it. Vincent, the rivals. Whatever comes next, we're going to survive. How do you know? Because we're both too stubborn to die. Despite everything, Lena laughed. That's your big plan? Stubbornness? It's worked so far. Fair point. They sat there for a while, holding each other, breathing. Then Marco knocked on the door. Boss, we found him. Lucian looked up. Vincent? Yeah, he's holed up in a hotel in Jersey, got maybe 6 guys with him. We can hit him tonight if you want. How solid is the intel? Very. One of Marcus's guys has eyes on the building right now. Lucien looked at Lena. I have to go. I know. You should rest. Let Dr. Chen monitor you. I'm coming with you. Lena, don't. She stood up, ignored the way her shoulder screamed. I'm not sitting this one out. Vincent used my father to get to me. He put Sarah in danger. I'm finishing this. You can barely stand. Then I'll shoot him sitting down. Lucian stared at her. She stared back. You're insane, he said. I learned from the best. Finally, he smiled. Okay, but you stay in the car until we've secured the building. Then, and only then, you can come in. Deal. I mean it, Lena. So do I. Marco cleared his throat. Should I tell the guys to gear up? Yeah, Lucian stood. We move in 1 hour, full tactical. I want this clean and quiet. Understood. The drive to Jersey took 45 minutes. Lena sat in the back of the SUV, body armor pressing against her fresh stitches, and tried not to think about what was coming. Tried and failed. You okay? Lucian asked. Ask me after. Fair enough. They pulled up 3 blocks from the hotel. A budget place. The kind where you paid cash and nobody asked questions. Marcus's team was already in position. 12 men spread across 3 vehicles, all armed, all ready. Targets on the 3rd floor, room 312, Marco reported. 6 hostiles confirmed, maybe more. Exits? Front entrance, back fire escape, service entrance through the kitchen. We've got all 3 covered. Good. Lucian checked his gun. Rules of engagement? Vincent Casta doesn't leave that building alive. The others can surrender if they're smart. If not, Marco shrugged. Their choice. Lena's stomach churned. This was it. The end. One way or another. Lucian turned to her. You stay here until I give the all clear. Understand? I understand. He didn't look convinced, but he kissed her anyway. Quick and hard. Be careful, she said. Always. He got out. Marco and the team followed. They moved toward the hotel with the coordinated precision of people who'd done this 1,000 times. Lena watched them go, counted to 60. Then she got out of the SUV. She'd promised to stay in the car. She'd lied. Some things you had to finish yourself. She entered through the service entrance. The kitchen was empty. Marcus's team had already cleared it. She moved through, gun drawn, and found the stairs. 3rd floor. Her shoulder throbbed with every step. She could feel blood seeping through the fresh bandages. Dr. Chen was going to kill her, if she survived long enough to get killed. The 3rd floor hallway was long and dimly lit. She could hear sounds from 312, shouting, movement, then gunfire. Lena ran toward it, burst through the already open door. The room was chaos. Lucien and Marco fighting 3 men, bodies already on the ground, blood on the walls. And in the corner, trying to climb out the window, Vincent. Lena raised her gun. Going somewhere? He froze, looked back at her. Miss Hartwell. Still alive, how disappointing. Where were you planning to go? Away from here. Away from you and your psychotic boyfriend. He smiled. But since that's not working out, he pulled a gun. Not from a holster, from his pocket. A small revolver. Lena fired first. The bullet hit him in the shoulder, spun him around. He dropped the revolver, grabbed at the wound. You shot me, he said, like he couldn't believe it. Yeah, I did. Lena walked closer. You used my father, put my best friend in danger, tried to kill the man I love. Your father was weak, your friend was collateral, and Lucien Moretti is a monster who deserves everything coming to him. Maybe, but he's my monster. She raised the gun again. Any last words? You won't do it. You're not a killer. Everyone keeps saying that. Lena pulled the trigger. The shot took him in the chest. Center mass. Just like Marco had taught her. Vincent looked down at the blood spreading across his shirt, looked up at her. Your father, he started, was right about one thing. I am ungrateful. She watched him slide down the wall. I don't forgive easily. And I definitely don't forget. Vincent tried to say something else, couldn't. His eyes went distant. Then he was gone. Lena lowered her gun, stood there looking at what she'd done. 2 bodies now, 2 people dead by her hand. The first one had been instinct, survival. This one was choice, deliberate. She waited to feel guilty, horrified, Something, felt nothing. Lena, Lucien's voice. He was beside her suddenly, hand on her arm. You okay? I don't know. She looked at him. Am I supposed to feel bad? Do you? No. Then no. You're not supposed to feel anything you don't feel. He looked at Vincent's body. It's done now. Finished. Is it? Lena gestured at the carnage. How do we know there isn't someone else? Another Vincent waiting to take revenge? Another person whose son or brother or father died because of your world? We don't. Lucien took her gun. Safety did. But we deal with them when they come, together. For how long? As long as it takes. Lena thought about that. About a life spent looking over her shoulder. About enemies in the shadows and violence always one step away. About the alternative, going back to her old life, her old apartment, her old safe, predictable existence. It felt like trying to wear clothes that didn't fit anymore. Okay, she said. Together. Marco appeared in the doorway. Building's clear. We should move before someone calls the cops. They left the hotel. Left the bodies. Left Vincent Casta bleeding out in a budget room in Jersey. In the car, Lena's shoulder finally gave out. The pain crashed over her like a wave, and she sagged against Lucien. Hey, his arm went around her. Stay with me. Tired. I know, almost done. Just stay awake a little longer. Dr. Chen was waiting when they got back to the safe house. She took one look at Lena and started swearing in 3 languages. You tore every single stitch, she said, cutting away the blood-soaked bandages. Again. What part of don't do anything stupid did you not understand? The don't part, Lena managed. Clearly. But Dr. Chen's hands were gentle. This is going to scar. Badly. You know that, right? I'm okay with scars. Of course you are. Another surgery. More stitches. More pain medication that made Lena's thoughts fuzzy and slow. When she woke up, it was morning. Sunlight streamed through windows. She was in a real bed this time. Soft sheets, clean room. Lucien was asleep in the chair beside her. His head tilted back, mouth slightly open. He looked younger when he slept. Almost peaceful. Lena watched him breathe. Thought about everything that had happened in the last week, 1 week. That's all it had been. 7 days ago, she'd been waiting in a restaurant for a proposal that never came. Now, she was lying in a safe house with a gunshot wound, having killed 2 people and destroyed her relationship with her father. It should have felt wrong. Should have felt like she'd lost herself. Instead, it felt like she'd finally found herself. The door opened. Marco stuck his head in. Oh good, you're awake. He came in, closing the door quietly behind him. How's the shoulder? Hurts. Good. Means you're alive. He handed her a phone. Your friend Sarah's been calling. Thought you might want to talk to her. Lena took the phone. Is she okay? Shaken, scared, but physically fine. We've got people watching her place, making sure Vincent didn't have any associates who might try something. Thank you. Don't thank me. Thank the boss. Marco nodded at Lucien. He's the one who mobilized half the city to protect your people. Lucien stirred, opened his eyes, saw Lena awake, and sat up straight. Hey, he said. Hey yourself. How do you feel? Like I got shot, stitched up, tore the stitches, and got shot again. That's pretty accurate. He reached for her hand. Sarah's okay. Your apartment's been cleaned and secured, and Vincent's people have scattered. Word on the street is they want nothing to do with us. Good. There's more. He hesitated. Sal and the other lieutenants heard what happened. How you went in alone to save Sarah. How you took down Vincent. He paused. They're calling you La Leonessa. The lioness. That's ridiculous. That's respect. Marco smiled. You're officially part of the family now, whether you like it or not. Lena didn't know what to say to that. Lucien squeezed her hand. You don't have to decide anything right now. Just rest. Heal. We'll figure out the rest later. What about us? Lena asked. What happens with us? What do you want to happen? She thought about it, really thought. I want... She stopped, started over. I want to wake up next to you. I want to have dinner that doesn't end with someone trying to kill us. I want to learn how to survive in your world without losing myself. She met his eyes. I want normal. or as close to normal as we can get. I can do normal. Can you? I can try. He smiled. For you, I can try. Marco cleared his throat. Yeah, I'll leave you two alone. He left. Lena and Lucien sat there in the quiet morning light, holding hands, breathing. Tell me something true, Lena said. Lucien's smile widened. You remember that. First thing you ever asked me, at the restaurant. Yeah. He thought for a moment. Okay. Something true. I've been alone for most of my life, even when I was surrounded by people. Even when I was running an empire. I was alone. He traced his thumb across her knuckles. Until you. You make me feel less alone. That's sad and beautiful at the same time. That's us. Yeah. Lena shifted, trying to get comfortable. Her shoulder protested. I guess it is. Your turn. Tell me something true. I used to think I needed someone to choose me, to prove I was worth staying for. She looked at him. But I don't need that anymore, because I chose myself. And then I chose you, and that's enough. That's more than enough. He leaned in, kissed her gently. That's everything. 3 months later, Lena stood on the balcony of Lucien's penthouse, their penthouse now, and watched the city wake up. Her shoulder had healed, left a scar, just like Dr. Chen had warned. But Lena didn't mind. It reminded her of what she'd survived, what she'd become. Sarah had forgiven her. Eventually. After weeks of therapy and a long conversation about boundaries and danger and what friendship meant when one person was dating a mob boss, they still had coffee dates, just with armed security nearby. Her father had disappeared. Rumor was he'd fled to Florida. Lena didn't care. Had blocked his number and moved on. Some relationships weren't worth saving. Marcus had apologized. Multiple times. Lena had accepted because holding grudges took energy she didn't have, but she'd made it clear they'd never be friends. That was fine. She had enough friends. The organization was rebuilding, slower than before, smarter. Lucien had changed some of his father's old rules, made things less brutal, more strategic. It wouldn't last forever. Someone would challenge him eventually. That's how these things worked. But for now, there was peace. Lucien came up behind her, wrapped his arms around her waist, careful of her shoulder even though it was fully healed. Coffee's ready, he said. In a minute. What are you thinking about? How different everything is from 3 months ago. Good different or bad different? Just different. She leaned back against him. I don't recognize my life anymore. Is that a problem? I don't know yet. She turned in his arms. Ask me in another 3 months. Deal. He kissed her forehead. Come on. Breakfast is getting cold. They went inside, ate breakfast like normal people, talked about their day like normal couples, except Lucien had a meeting with his lieutenants about territory disputes. And Lena had a self-defense class with Marco because she'd decided if she was going to live in this world, she was going to be ready for it. Not normal, but theirs. After breakfast, Lena got a text from Sarah. Coffee tomorrow? I'm buying, she smiled, texted back. Sure, but I'm picking the place. Somewhere public. You mean somewhere with armed guards? That too. You're ridiculous. I know. Love you anyway. Love you too. Lena set the phone down, looked at Lucien reading the newspaper at the breakfast table, looked at the life they'd built from blood and chaos and impossible choices. It wasn't the life she'd planned, wasn't the life she'd wanted, but it was hers, and she'd chosen it with her eyes open. That had to count for something. You okay? Lucien asked, looking up from the paper. Yeah. Lena smiled. I really am. And for the first time in longer than she could remember, she meant it. The city sprawled below them, full of danger and opportunity, and people who would love them or hate them or try to kill them. But Lena Hartwell wasn't afraid anymore. She'd walked through fire and come out steel. She'd been broken and put herself back together stronger. She'd been tested and survived. And she'd done it all without waiting for permission, without waiting to be chosen. She'd chosen herself first, then she'd chosen love. And in a world that tried to make you small and scared and silent, that was the most dangerous thing of all. Lucien reached across the table, took her hand. Ready? He asked. For what? She didn't know. Another fight, another threat, another day in a life that refused to be ordinary. But she squeezed his hand back and said, "Yeah, I'm ready." And together they stepped into whatever came next. Not as savior and survivor, not as boss and liability, but as equals. Partners. Two people who'd found each other in chaos and decided, against all logic and reason and common sense, to build something real. Something that couldn't be bought or sold or taken away. Something that was entirely theirs. Outside, the city hummed with life. Somewhere out there, new enemies were planning. New challenges were forming. The world kept spinning, indifferent to their story. But in that moment, in that penthouse high above it all, Lena and Lucian were untouchable. They'd fought for this, bled for this, nearly died for this. And they'd won. Not perfectly, not cleanly, not without scars and losses and prices paid, but they'd won. And that was enough. That was everything.